Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Forestry and Sawmill Roundtable. I'm Rick. We're being joined by Tim, John, Michael, Andy, and Steve. Eric is going to try to join us, hopefully, a little bit later. And as a special guest this month, we have Zach from LogRite. How you doing, Zach?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
So Zach is going to tell us all about his about the company that he's with and all the accessories and things that they have to help support sawmill and logging operations. And then we'll be open for questions after he gets done. All right, Zach, it's all yours.
Well, thank you. As I was introduced, my name's Zach. I'm the manufacturing engineer with LogRite Tools. And a little bit about, the company before I go into the product line here. Basically, the line of tools was originally created out of necessity. My dad's the owner of the company. He started it. We actually just celebrated 20 years. And before that, he ran a portable sawmill. And he found that the tools he was using weren't adequate. He wasn't a fan of constantly breaking and losing the wooden handle tools that he was operating with. So he went into the garage one day and had an idea in his head, and he welded one up, and it was out of aircraft aluminum with a heat treated hook, and it worked really well. And as he continued to travel around with his sawmill, people noticed. His friends looked at it and said, wow, that's a really cool idea. And so the company was really born from that. And from then we've added so many different tools and equipment to our lineup. You can see in the poster behind me, here's like a sampling of some of the things that we like to carry. So basically our main product at LogRite is our cant hooks and PVs. That's the tool you see here. And I actually have an example here. This is one of our that's really, and this tool is our 36-inch model. We have all different lengths and sizes. This has a smaller handle with a knob on the end. It's really great for turning cants on a mill if you don't have a hydraulic mill and moving smaller logs. And then we move up from there. We have all different lengths and sizes, all the way from a 78-inch mega hook that's got a reinforced handle for those really big logs out there, down to the smaller 24-inch size for just moving small pieces and getting a good bite on the logs. So this other product I got here is our hookaroon. It's got a small point on it. It's used for picking, firewood out of the back of trailers and trucks and moving things where you don't want to put your hands. And it's a really, really handy tool. And, all these things were just added to the product line as we go along. In the photo you see behind us, this is our lineup of arches. So all those arches are used for either moving saw logs around your mill or taking them out of the woods. We have a full lineup from 16 inches all the way up to 36-inch capacity in the arches. The smaller ones are designed to be used by hand. So you can go into the woods or around your woodlot and they have a set of tongs. They operate in a toggling motion. So as you pull down on the handle with the tongs in the log, they pick that log up and allow you to move it around and really get the weight of the wood off the ground and not drag it through the mud and the dirt. And that's really the upside of using one of our arches, is that not only is it a less expensive and more economical way to move logs as opposed to some big heavy equipment, but it also really gets everything off the ground. You don't have to drag those logs through the woods and the mud and the debris. And we all know how much saw blades cost. So not having all that rocks and dirt in there when you're running a mill really makes it handy. So the bigger arches are designed from a four-wheeler size, which can carry a 25-inch log, and that'll actually take 10 feet fully suspended, 25 inches fully off the ground, that you can drive through the woods. It's really low impact and makes things really effective. You know, just a 250cc four-wheeler can get a lot of work done. And then from there, we move up to some bigger arches. We have a T30, which is 30 inches in diameter log, designed to be operated behind a small tractor. And the same with the T36, which is 36 inches. And those arches, obviously, for a little bit bigger logs, a little bit more productivity, those operate with a choker and a winch cable, so you can take one large log or a smaller groups of logs out of the woods. I have a lot of personal experience with them. Before I joined LogRite full time, I operated a farm, and we had a firewood processing operation there. And I used our small ATV arch on that farm, and split about 20 quart a year with that, just with a 250cc four-wheeler and a chainsaw basically, and a small wood splitter. And having that piece of equipment with me made my goal was to be as low impact as possible. I didn't want big skidder roads going through the woods. I had a maple grove that I was trying to keep in really nice condition, and so having the ability to take a small piece of equipment and move a lot of wood out of the forest was really convenient. So that, as far as our log specific tools, is a brief overview of our lineup. You can see here, this is called our BTS hauler. It's a combination unit. It's got the ability to switch from a standard hand truck that can move logs and rounds and rocks and things like that, and it can actually convert. You take a couple pins out and you switch some things around, and it becomes a bunk that has some brush cart basically that you can either move with a four-wheeler or just by hand. And we sell those to a lot of forest tree service professionals that work in backyards. It'll fit through a 36-inch gate and allows you the opportunity to move some pretty heavy brush and logs and things of that nature without having a skid steer or some other big equipment in backyards. And then as the company progressed and we were moving forward through time, it was kind of important to us at the moment to do some diversification. And so around 2008 and 2009, Kevin decided to add furniture legs to the business. And so here's an example. This is our Danielle style bench leg. You can see it's got a top with mounting holes. And so the way that these were, thought of was that we know our customer base, and a lot of our customer base are people with sawmills and have access to wood already. They might already have one of our arches and our cant hooks, and they're milling wood out in the yard. And we have found that a lot of times it's hard to figure out what to do with that wood afterwards. You see some beautiful logs. Once you get a sawmill and you stop putting everything into firewood, you start opening up some of these really beautiful pieces of maple and oak, and you're looking at them. They have all this really nice character. And a lot of people have the ability to finish those beautiful pieces of wood. They can sand them and make them pretty. And we found that finding legs that are adequate to make beautiful tables and chairs and benches and, really finish out a room or a dining room or a house was a hard part. A lot of people might not have the skill set to do the joinery needed for legs. And so again, out of original necessity, because we wanted a kitchen table in our house, these legs were born. And as we brought them to trade shows, people really liked them. So the Right Leg Company is a product that's under the LogRite brand, and the Right Leg Company has a whole lineup of legs with different shapes and sizes and heights. We offer table sizes from 28 inch, which is your standard dining table height, Then we have a 34-inch, which I like to call the grazing height. It's a great height for, you know, you have some snacks and things out. It's right at a level where it's good for picking. And then we have a 40-inch bar table height. We have multiple different styles. The whole aesthetic of the legs is different through our lineup. They all have very creative names. You know, as my dad liked to say, it was really hard to find models. So we just named our legs models and let them do the talking. And so, you know, all our legs have different names. We have the Danielle and the Nikki and the Michelle. And if you were to look through our catalog, you'd be able to see how all those legs look. And, you know, we have images of, you know, the leg with different types of woods. We've done everything from granite to, you know, hardwoods and softwoods, made tables, benches, bars, bar stools, all that kind of stuff. And all that was just things that we added along the way in order to have a more diverse offering at LogRite. And it's stuff that really goes along with the things that our clients are using. You know, like I said, a lot of those people have access to the wood, but in order to make a beautiful piece of furniture or do something with it, we wanted to offer a solution to that. So the Right Leg company really has plug and play as far as making some beautiful furniture. All you need is the wood and a couple screws, and you have an amazing sturdy table that'll last a lifetime. And another addition to the company was the Blue Creeper company. So the Blue Creeper company is a penetrating oil. It's all made in-house, and honestly, it's the best penetrating oil that you'll ever use. It comes in a small 1 ounce needlepoint oiler. It's no mess. You just drip it into a joint, whether it's squeaky joints or rusty bolts, and it's an amazing penetrating lubricant. Like I said, we offer a degreaser that has the same formula and a sewing machine oil along that lines. And, you know, really all these things were just a way that as a company we could offer the people who love the LogRite brand the best experience. You know, they can get a bunch of different products on our website, and they can also find a lot of solutions for the things that they're doing. And, you know, I think that's basically a really brief overview of what we do at LogRite. And I'd love to take some questions from you guys.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that presentation, Zach. I could tell you right now, we don't have LogRite log arches, but we do have log arches. We built our own before we even knew LogRite had any. But we've hauled 2,000-pound logs out of the woods with four-wheelers. So the log arches really do work great.
Yeah.
All right. So we did have one question. Is LogRite coming to Vermont next month? The Northeast Logging Show will be here.
Yep, LogRite will be at the Northeast Logging Show, and I will be there representing us. So if you see my face here, you'll see it there, and I'd love to hear from you.
Anybody on the panel got any questions for Zach?
Well, I was just looking at those table legs real quick, and man, that's not just table legs. That's, you know, I mean, you got like bench legs and picnic table legs, and there's everything on there. Kitchen table to coffee table to stools. There's stool legs on there.
Yeah, that's so nice. I can go into a little bit more detail on the legs. So
okay, so
I think you froze up.
Eric
we're back. So
Eric is on here, but he's not live with us. He's on the chat.
Great.
Eric said to tell you hello, Zach. He's the old jarhead.
Oh, nice to meet you, Eric.
I think you sent Eric a can hook for his giveaway.
Okay. Oh, nice. I hope you're enjoying it. But yeah, as I was saying about the.
Go ahead, Zach. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine. As I was saying about the legs, you know, we do offer a full basically lineup of things from, like you said, the table legs, which have all the different heights, and then the bench legs, which is a 17-inch height bench. And, you know, you can put those together and have a full table. There's bar stools at different heights as well that, you know, we do sell swivel bases, so you could make a swiveling bar stool top. And really all that takes is a piece of wood that you put on top and you have a beautiful bar stool. We've created backs for them, so you could set up a chair back if you'd like it. So really any sort of table combination. And, as a company, we're open to suggestions and hearing what people want and trying to make the best sort of product that we can. That's really the goal, is to have, the highest quality, that we can produce, because, you can get cheap stuff anywhere, but LogRite really prides itself on having high quality products with, the best craftsmanship.
So up on the screen there, Zach, there's a question for you.
Yeah, so I do see that. So the T36, we do sell that with a electronic brake kit, the T36 arch. So if you already have an arch, you would need to put a new set of hubs on there, the actual braking hubs. So the braking hubs have the actual. Is this Eric?
That's Eric.
It's nice to meet you, Eric. So as I was saying, the arch, the hubs as they are, they don't accept brakes. So you'd have to get a set of braking hubs, but they're standard trailer braking hubs. So if you had the ability to install those yourself, you could go ahead and do that.
So when we went to the trade show, I saw that you guys had like hand dollies and things like that as well.
Yeah, so the hand dolly it's called the BTS hauler, and that not just a hand dolly, that's that unit that can be switched over to be a brush cart as well. It's a really handy piece of equipment. We actually have one that we use full time in the shop. We use the stuff that we recommend. So we use in our shop both a junior arch and a hand dolly. The hand dolly is great around the sawmill. We stack all our lumber in that to bring it inside. If we need to use wood, we can set it up on the bunks onto the cart and wheel that inside, and it makes it really easy to handle our dimensional lumber when we're making our pallets for shipping things. And the junior arch we use in the shop as well to do all our material handling. So the junior arch could be, we have some accessories that you can buy with the junior arch, one of them being a strap kit. So not only can you move logs, but if you take that strap and hook it through the eyelet on the junior arch, it becomes something you can move pipe or lengths of material around the yard or into the shop. So we get material that gets dropped off, and then we use that junior arch to wheel it inside. So it's a really handy piece of equipment to have around.
There's a question from Derek Stuff asking if you offer a walking beam axle option.
A walking beam axle option. I'm not sure if I understand the question.
You can extend the axle. Extend the beam.
Just that's not. From the length to get a longer length on one of our arches.
Right.
Probably so. I would.
So
think.
That is not something we offer. The arches are designed in a way that they, if you look at the design, especially of what we call the forwarding arches, so that would be the T36, the T30, and the ATV arch specifically. The fetching arch can be converted to be that style. It has the ability to be the toggling action, which is where you hook the tongs and pull the arch down and it lifts the log up off the ground. But the forwarding arches specifically, when you wrap that choker around them, they're designed specifically for a log length in mind to be fully suspended. So like I said, for the ATV arch, that would be around 10 feet. You can generally fit 11 in there to get it fully suspended off the ground. But obviously, a lot of times we don't have 10-foot lengths of logs, right? And so the idea is you would just pick up the majority of the weight of the log, and you'd have a small bit of tail drag at the end of that log, and then you'd be able to move it out of the woods. And with that, you really don't lose much. So you just have, a small bit of tail drag. You pick up the heavy end, and you can just move it right out of the woods.
Do you have something that would be good to pull behind a pickup truck? Not on the highway, of course, but out in the woods. And what kind of what length of log would it be able to hold off the ground, not dragging it?
The T36 it's the biggest one basically, and we have seen them used behind pickup trucks. Again, not for highway use, but if you're moving down long logging roads and you wanted to do that, the T36 arch is your best option. Fully suspended with the arch by itself, you're looking at 12 feet, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I don't have the number right in front of me, but that'll be, again, by itself, that's going to pick up 12 feet fully off the ground, 36 inches in diameter. And the T36 has a bunch of other strapping points. So we recommend that if you're moving long distances at, relative speed, that you want to lift that log up and then you can secure it to the arch with a strap, which is included when you buy an arch. You have a ratchet strap that's included in order to really secure that from moving around. If you're just coming out of the woods, there's no need. You just pick the log up and let it do its thing, and you bring yourself out of the woods. But if you're traveling at distance, even if it's behind a four-wheeler with the smaller arches, I like to just put a little securement strap on there so it doesn't move at all. But with those arches also, you can use our forwarding arches and our toggling action arches in conjunction with each other. So if you had a real long log, let's say you had a 30, 40-foot log that you wanted to get out of the woods, it was important to you that it stayed intact, you could pick up one end with an ATV arch and put the junior arch on the backside. Say you had 25 inches at the butt and you had, 16 inches at the tail. You pick up one end with the ATV arch, and then you bring the junior arch to the end of that log. You set the tongs and you lift it up and put a strap around the handle of the junior arch. And now you have those arches operating in tandem to get longer arches out of the woods. And we've seen people do that with the ATV and the fetching arch, or the fetching arch, or the tractor arches with the fetching arch in conjunction with each other.
If
that
you
might
had
be
one
a
of
nice
those
combination
arches,
with skidding winch.
The fetching arch,
Right.
being able to pick up the back of the log. Yeah, and
Exactly.
And the fetching arch is the arch that I would say is the one that needs the most explanation sometimes to really understand what it's good at and why it's called that. And so the fetching arch was originally designed to be a tool that you could use along with a skidding winch, where you could drop that arch over the side of a hillside, and it has the base model comes with just a D-ring handle on the end of it. It's a small handle and a D-ring hook. And so you'd send that arch down a hill and you set the tongs in the log, and when you put the winch cable on there, as you start to pull, that arch toggles down and lifts the log up, and you can walk logs up a hill, and you really cut the need for power way down by having most of that weight suspended in the arch. And you'd be amazed at what you can walk out of a gully or a steep place where you really don't want a four-wheeler or other piece of equipment.
you have my wheels turning with that idea. With the one you could pull behind a pickup, if I wanted to pull 34, 32-foot logs, I could lift up one end of it and be able to drag a log around and not have to have it all on the ground, have the front end off. It could handle a 34-foot log with a 16-inch top or bigger.
Did we lose him?
I think he's froze up again.
Especially, we're back. Especially if you had a like tractor arch with a fetching arch on the back, it makes it real convenient to have that whole length up off the ground.
So guys, I hate to do this. I can't stay, but I wanted to pop in and say hi to Zach for a reason, because Zach, I've been a LogRite customer since about 2011 or 12. Love your products. I got right leg too, so a couple beautiful tables. You guys are awesome, and I wanted to be here for this show, but I had to come up and visit my dad in Canada, so I'm not able to stick around. But I don't know about the other guys. I've been using LogRite can hooks a long time, so you guys are awesome. Love to be here. Blue Creeper is the best. Fantastic stuff. So one of these days I'll be able to join with you, maybe on a chat, but I got to get back to my dad and dinner. So you guys have an awesome show. So far, looks pretty good from what I was able to catch. So keep it up, guys. And LogRite is the best, hands down. And I'm only saying that because I've been using you for a dozen years.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you bet. Hey, you guys have an awesome time. I got to go. Love to be here, guys. And I might try to pop in after dinner and see if you're still around.
Enjoy your visit.
Yep.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Any more questions?
I probably need a LogRite PV. I'm still using my old 30-year-old one with a wooden handle, and I only push on it so hard because I'm afraid I'm going to break it. I think Andy would break it in probably 5 seconds if he tried to use it. I probably need a LogRite PV.
Well, I know
Probably, yeah.
I know for a fact you can't give a metal PV to Paul.
Yeah, I'll destroy a sawmill with it.
Yeah, he destroys the sawmill with it.
Yep.
Well,
Going
as you
back
can
to the
see,
leg.
the bright blue color makes it so if you leave it leaning up against the mill, you'll be able to see it before you run the saw blade through it.
Wait a minute. Now, Eric said he had like a little short 36-inch one. That's what Paul needs.
Yeah.
Will the
I
blue
heard
color
somebody say
help
that
me
question.
stop falling trees on mine?
Yes,
That's
too.
how I
You can find it
destroyed
in
my
the
other one,
woods.
is I fell a tree on it because I left it out in the woods and I didn't see where it was.
You managed to miss your cameras, but
Yeah.
you can't miss your PVs.
I can't miss my PV.
I don't know about
Zach,
the cancels either.
I got a question for you, or maybe just an idea you guys might want to work on. We live in very rocky territory. We always get rocks in our trails and stuff, or a rock will be in the way. And they're not rocks that can't be moved, but they're movable. But I've used my can hook a couple of times to try to roll the rock out of the hole and get it off the trail. And it doesn't do very well on the hook. I always end up going home having to sharpen the hook. But if somebody were to design a hook that you could grab a rock with and roll it out of a trail, that would be fantastic.
Do you have one of our can hooks?
No.
No,
Do
we're
you
still
guys
using.
produce
That's
for
why the hook
steel,
is so
Zach?
beat up. What's that?
Do you produce for steel?
Yeah. So then, those the hooks we use are heat treated, 4140 high carbon steel. So generally they hold up pretty well against most average wear and tear. I don't know about rocks necessarily, but for most of the things that you're going to find around the woods in the woodlot, they hold up pretty well.
Yeah, I think Rick was saying that you guys make a tool to like pop a rock out of a hole or something.
Yeah, like a can hook with a shoe on it instead of a point.
Could you make some kind of a shoe
maybe
you can
that's
slip on the point?
I don't know.
That could be something that we could look at moving forward here. We're always looking for ways to diversify. So as ideas come along, we're never above looking at some new ideas. That's for sure.
Well, it's just an idea we came up with the other day because it seems like we always have a rock in our way whenever we pull off the trail or something and we have to move it. And the can hook would move it, but boy, it just destroys the point on ours. We got old wooden ones.
Yeah.
That's not uncommon for me either, having to roll big rocks out of the road, especially in steep terrain where they fall off the side of the road cut.
It's fun to watch them go downhill, though, isn't it?
That it is.
Paul says, does LogRite manufacture for others?
I don't know if you mean like as far as just run of the mill stuff or our tools specifically.
We heard that you manufactured can hooks for Wood Miser.
Wood Miser has their own line of can hooks and PVs.
I might have heard they did it for steel. The steel cant hooks are somebody else's. Maybe it was LogRite's.
I know my steel place
I see this.
store sells.
I just saw a question about loading logs onto a manual mill with an arch, and that is an idea, and we've put a little bit of thought into that, because especially those lower mills with lower decks, and it seems like it's so close. It's been a really hard problem for us to try to figure out. We have put a bit of thought into that, but as of right now, we don't have anything that can lift a log directly onto a mill. The logistics are pretty hard. You got to have a pretty wide base and be able to lift that log, pretty high up off the ground to get over one of those mills. But definitely something to look at moving forward.
Hard Rock, Vermont. Yes, he already answered that. They are going to the Northeast Logging Show. Let's see. The Mega Hook.
It's a great tool. That's a great tool. The Mega Hook is the biggest can hook we make.
3 long works for my needs.
Now, your trailers and stuff, you build trailers that haul stuff too out of the woods, correct?
Yeah. So as far as just a standard kind of looking trailer, the one product that we have is our all-terrain dump trailer.
Yes.
It's again, one of those things that LogRite wanted to bring to the market, because we've seen a lot of those dump trailers that are around, and a lot of them just aren't the highest quality. And unfortunately, you get one of those things and you start hauling some firewood around in it, and you'll know within a couple weeks that it wasn't really up to par. You get some flat tires and some bent things. So we designed a dump trailer that's much more robust. It's all manually operated. There's no hydraulics on it, but it does have a scissor jack that's hand cranked, but it's really super efficient to use that thing. It's rated for 2,000 pounds. It's got torsion axles. It's made out of high quality steel. It comes in both a steel body construction and a wood body construction. As far as the dump bed itself, designed to be pulled behind a small 4-wheeler. And, really that thing is great. Like I had said at the beginning of the show, when I was splitting a lot of firewood, that's the one other piece that I had with me was that dump trailer. So I had the arch, a small log splitter, a chainsaw, and that dump trailer, and everything happened with that in a 4-wheeler. So I would split wood, stack it in there, and drive it out of the place where I was splitting to the wood pile that I had. And, as far as quality dump trailers is concerned, there's nothing else like it on that scale.
Someone's wanting to know, will you be at the Richmond, Virginia Tool Show this spring?
That's actually isn't that I'm pretty sure that's the same weekend as Essex, if I'm not mistaken. And so we will be there. Kevin will be there, supporting LogRite.
And Steve K asks, what are the dimensions of your replacement hooks?
I don't have the
Locked up, Zach.
Yep, froze up again.
The dimensions are exactly the same as the hooks that come on our tools originally. So we have 3 different size hooks. The smallest is what we call our hook 1. It goes on the mill specials, and the tools that are up to 48 inches. The 60-inch tools get a hook 2, which is slightly bigger, and then the top level of tools would be the mega hook, which is a hook 3. So if you already have a LogRite tool, you just tell them what size tool you have if you called the office looking for a replacement, and you get the same one back. There's no difference in the replacements versus the original.
Can you sharpen the hooks with a file, like I can my old TV?
They're hardened, so no, you're not going to be able to get a file into them. But we make them hard so that you could do it with a grinder, any sort of grinder, but a file's not going to like that very much. So if you do end up wearing out a hook, you could put a point on it with a belt grinder or a handheld grinder. But for the most part, we find, I have tools that are, since the beginning, we have one of the first tools that we've made, and it's still got a decent point on the end of it.
Okay. So we got.
What are the price points on your arches? Of course,
So
somebody has to ask that question.
Yeah. Well, I see the comment down there. Tractor power is hard to beat, but not everybody's got the money to invest in a tractor, and that's higher impact on the environment, especially around the mill. You get a money day and a big tractor in there, or all the money invested in there. So especially for someone that's got a small operation and they don't have the means to get their hands on a full size tractor that's able to lift that. You got a LT15 wide and you want to put the biggest, pull that log out of the woods. You're going to need a lot of horsepower if you're doing it by just dragging it or trying to pick it dead off the ground. So, we know as a company that equipment is out there, obviously, and you can move logs with heavy equipment, and we're not really trying to change that. We're just putting ourselves in the place of a small sawmill operator or a homeowner that really wants a economical and efficient way to move wood with the low impact on the forest, low impact on the wallet. You don't have a big gas bill when you're running a four-wheeler or a small lawn tractor or a small tractor, and you can really get a lot of work done. So
I have a tractor, but my tractor's usually out in the woods doing the logging, not at the mill. If I could have one of those arches, I could transport the wood from where the tractor is to the sawmill without tearing up my roads. I like that idea.
Yeah.
And sometimes
exactly.
it's nice to just be able to move, wood. If moving a log the long way, 10 feet is really hard if you don't have any equipment. Rolling it's not too bad, but when you start having to drag it the other way, it becomes difficult. And so even around the mill, if your log pile's 20 yards down the lot and you need to move those logs over to where you can get them up on the mill, sometimes it's nice to just be able to get in there. You can also get into tight places and in between things. And so, like I said, equipment is out there and it's useful, but there's always room for improvement and different ways that you can utilize the assets that you have.
I'm amazed at what Rick and Tim can do with their four-wheelers and a little log arch. I'm just imagining what I could do with a pickup truck and a big log arch. I think I could move just about every log I have that way. Just seeing what Rick and Tim can do with a four-wheeler in the snow at night.
With the WUBEN light.
Pouring rain.
Zach, Hard Rock's asking, do you guys have any PTO-driven skidding winches?
We don't offer any PTO skidding winches personally as a company. That's not really in our forte there. We're a manufacturer, not a distributor of other things. So basically every product that LogRite sells is made right there.
Locked up again, Zach.
Take him a minute to catch up. Maybe a stage fright.
Dial up internet.
There he is.
It's usually me who has the bad internet.
Yeah.
It's the high quality image, It's hard to bring that across.
I noticed Steve K. He wants to buy a hook separately to be able to roll logs on a manual mill. He's probably going to set something up like you and Paul did, Andy.
Say that again.
Steve K, he was asking about the size of the hooks that you sold separately. He wants to use a hook to be able to roll the log on a manual mill. He's probably thinking about setting something up like you and Paul did.
Paul, where'd you get that hook? Who actually got the hook from Hooten's?
Oh, from Hudson?
Yep.
But you can buy the LogRite hook separately too, correct, Zach?
Yeah, we sell all the parts that basically the parts that go into our onto our tools.
Awesome.
And
so if they were
somebody
to go onto
had
your
asked a question about pricing, and I can go over some pricing really quick if you'd like me to.
That would be good. Yep.
That'd be great.
Anything you're comfortable with.
I just want to make sure I get the numbers right. So.
You're getting all kind of phone calls.
Zach said he's selling tent hooks for $12.
$12.95. What?
$12.95. Wow, I'm
I've
getting
put it on-
much of them, Zach.
I put it on YouTube.
Yeah. Zach would be like, that's a misquote.
So, Zach, while you're looking for that, you do have your product on Amazon as well, correct?
Yes. So somebody does sell our product. That's doesn't come through us directly, but you can get our stuff on Amazon.
Okay.
Let's see here. So, you know, our 60-inch can hook on the website is $136. So that's a 60-inch tool, the heat treated tow hook and hook, and powder coated blue. That's the tool that you can find from our dealers, the tool that you'd find on our website. But I know people are interested in the arches here. So as far as our log arches, from the base model junior, let's see.
What was that?
Oh,
So the
Steve.
junior base model,
Steve, was that you, Steve?
Yeah. He's dialing back in.
Reminds me of the 90s trying to get on the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
I know I
Having
look
a
young, but I
flashback
do
to the
remember
days of AOL.
You got mail.
So,
You have now. Let me get him back in.
solution. Okay. So the T36 arch will fit on a Hudson mill according to this. If it'll do it, I 100%. Like I said, so the junior arch is $690 arch, 16 inches, 1,000 pounds, with the toggling action, and from there, anywhere between there and the larger arches like the T36 and the T30. The T36 starts at 3,400 and the T30 starts at 3,000. 400 as far as the arches are concerned. So
Well, I can tell you right now, I'm a big fan of the log arches myself.
There he
love,
is. He's back.
we love the log arches.
There he is back.
We didn't get
Yeah.
most of that pricing.
Yeah, we didn't get any of that. You
Oh,
locked
really?
up. You were locked up the whole time. Still are.
I'm still frozen.
No,
Not-
there you go.
Coming in and out.
So we can go on the website and get a catalog.
Yeah, you can get the whole catalog right on the website. All the arch pricing's on there. All the tools that we offer right from. You can be directed to the Right Leg website. If you click the link for the Right Leg, you'll be able to find the whole lineup of legs. And there's really, I covered a small portion of what they are, but if you look on the website and all the different heights and designs that we offer, you can find them all there on that website. And all the legs are priced individually. So we do sell the legs as single pieces. And that's because we wanted to not limit you to having two. And so as you build a table, we've seen some people make some like 14, 15, 16 foot long tables. And so it's nice to have a third leg in the middle there. So if you want that option, you can do that. We also do the counter legs, which is nice, a nice long bar top or countertop that you wanted to put up somewhere. And 3 or 4 legs underneath that against the wall makes it really convenient.
I think that'd be great for a woodworker who just wants to clean up a slab, or a sawmill operator who wants to clean up a slab. All you have to do is bolt the legs on, and there you go.
Yep.
Exactly. That's really the heart and soul of why we do it, is because now that, as like I said, I do at the beginning, I think we were talking before we started here, I do a lot of the mill. I run the sawmill, and I also have my hand in some woodworking. We actually sell fully finished tables locally to our local customers. We have a few local customers that'll buy tables from us, and we sell hardwood slabs. We have a kiln at the shop, and so we dry lumber and offer services like that in our local area. And so I'm constantly using our legs. I've done quite a few projects for people around my community. I fully furnished out a restaurant, and that restaurant has obviously wood that came from us, but all the legs underneath all those tables were Right Leg Company legs, and they're held up with a high quality powder coat. And like was mentioned, really all you need is the wood and a couple of screws, and it makes an incredibly sturdy table. The material is, and all the legs have the ability, you can fit feet onto the legs, so they're all made in a way where if you wanted to add an adjustable foot to the leg or a dolly wheel, you can put those to make tables that can move around. And all it takes is 3/8 16ths or a 1/4 20 on the smaller ones. Makes it
Just think of how
really convenient to make.
Just think of how much more money you might be able to make from your slabs if you just clean them up a bit and slap some legs on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. We know that a lot of the love is in making the beautiful tabletop. We've seen a lot of people make some really gorgeous things, but then that next step, a way to make it functional, is hard. I make proper legs. Sometimes you rob them from other things, and take old dining room table and put this new beautiful and so having what's pretty and beautiful with it, making trailers super convenient or convenient.
Did we lose Zach and John?
I think
Looks like
John stepped away for a minute. Zach is froze again.
There he is.
There you go.
Gotta wait for that 100 baud modem to kick in.
Someone's asking, I wanted to check out your dump trailer sizes and prices, Zach.
So I can give you the dump trailer stuff.
Sure.
So we don't size the dump trailer. It's the one that we offer, and so that's a 48-inch box, and that's 26.
We're having trouble getting any pricing here. You keep breaking up every time you name a price.
You said the 48-inch trailer was how much, Zach?
2,600.
2,600. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
And that's the only one we offer.
Is it? Okay. And that's powder coated and everything as well?
Yep.
Poor Zach.
So someone's asking how much firewood would that hold, Zach? Any idea?
Yeah, it's about a third of a cord if you stack it in there.
Third? Okay.
Somebody has some noise going on in the background.
I hear a radio. Is that you, Steve?
Nope, not me. I got somebody got a TV going on.
Is that? Nah, is that you, Lumberjack?
Could be. I'm upstairs. I don't know what the wife's doing. I can't hear, so
Any more
Zach, are
questions?
you guys usually, for the right legs, are you guys usually at Woodsman Field Days over by the Woodmiser booth?
Yep. So we're right there by the covered bridge. That's our spot up at Boonville at the Woodsman's Field Day.
Okay, I've seen your stuff. I like that stuff. It's really nice.
We always So we'll be up there this year. We'll have all the legs with us and our full lineup of tools, along with some arches and most of the entrance.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You have a picaroon. What else might you have for handling firewood? Firewood round, making things easy, so you don't have to bend over, pick things up.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't think he heard you, Michael.
I don't think so either.
he has those long
Are you with us, Zach?
Glad
with the handle.
that
Don't they also have tongs? Don't you have tongs, Zach?
Yep, hitting tongs.
Oh yeah, so we do we have 16-inch tongs and 24-inch tongs, and we with a swivel hook on them as well. They're not designed for overhead lifting, but they are and for logs, and they're the tongs that we put on all of our log arches as well.
I don't know if you heard my question earlier. I was asking what do you have for picking up firewood by hand? You mentioned the picaroon, something to keep from having to bend over to pick up firewood. Do you have anything like that? Other than the picaroon?
So
Hand tongs or something like that?
other than the picaroon,
Locked up. He always locks up with his eyes closed. You notice that?
you think he's faking it?
I don't know.
I'm not.
I think Zach's his connection is just losing structural integrity. It's not. We're hardly hearing anything at this point.
He's got one eye open.
He's smiling.
It's not a. It's not a show.
No.
That we like I was saying, we don't offer hand tongs at the moment. No.
Okay.
I thought he did.
Okay, so one question was he needs a can hook to turn 30-inch logs. You got something that big, right?
6-inch.
For sure. The mega hook's a great option for that,
Mega hook.
which is it's got a big reinforced hook on it, and it'll be able to move a 30-inch log, no problem.
Guys, if any of you guys out there want to look at the pricing, you can go on LogRite.com, and they got the pricing right on the website. Is that correct, Zach?
Oh yeah, yep, and all the products we offer is right there on the website as well.
Somebody says stop blinking, Zach.
When he blinks, he cuts out.
The Woods got new fiber internet. So he's rolling along. What do you like in the country, Zach?
No, I'm directly wired in here. I don't know. I'm not sure why, but things happen, and but that's okay. I'm still having a great time.
It's hard to believe you can live in the Northeast like we do and have lousy internet. If I get 10 feet away from the house, I got nothing.
Yeah.
Tell them how to fix it, John.
Yeah, I know how to fix it.
I'm looking at the PVs on your internet. The 60-inch PV, is that your longest one?
Michael,
$130.
obviously the problem is you, Michael. Stop asking questions.
Inquiring minds want to know. Especially inquiring minds who need a new PV.
There's a little something for you,
the
Michael.
60-inch PV is 130 is 136.
Is that your biggest one? Your longest one?
No, the biggest one is 78 inches. That's it would be our mega hook. And that's only available in a cant hook though.
Okay.
We don't sell that as a PV.
Oh, you have extreme duty PVs too. 60-inch, 158. That's the one Andy
Yep.
needs, the extreme duty PV.
No, Andy needs a hydraulic PV.
Yeah,
I think
our
Andy is a hydraulic cylinder.
Yeah.
I've seen him roll logs before.
Our extreme duty is it's all reinforced. It's a little bit heavier, and but it's just got some reinforcement in there for those people who feel like they just the standard aluminum tool isn't quite enough for them.
Or for those of us who have a propensity for falling trees on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if you fell smaller trees, Michael, you wouldn't have a problem.
Well, Keto Cheeto says PV versus can hook. Who wants to take that?
I guess I could take that. A PV's got a point on it, and a can hook has kind of like a shoe on the end of it.
So the PV
Why?
was designed to move logs in the water with the point, and you can push logs around in the water when you're logging like that, or you can put the point in the ground too. It's good for that. Or the cant hook wasn't designed for that.
You see, I thought the point was for staving off bears.
No, not really.
Walking stick.
Good thing I never tried it.
I'm distracted looking at all their equipment online.
I know it.
Are you
was-
drilling
I
yet,
was
Michael?
Yeah, a little bit. I heard what is it? The key word keeps the logs out of the dirt. That gets my attention,
Oh yeah.
especially when you see my next video coming out.
Well, the other thing, he did mention it for a while there, is that I've been in places where they didn't want, loggers in there, and they didn't want their forest tore up, and they didn't want me dragging logs around with the tractor, and that's the log arch is a great thing for that. You're just driving 2 tires on the ground, 2 extra tires on the ground.
Absolutely.
But I'm thinking about the hand arch. If I could take that over the hill with my farmy cable, take it by hand, put it under the log, lift the log up when I yard it up the hill. I'm wondering if that would work out for me. If the tires would be able to float on the ground or if they would dig into the ground in soft dirt. Going over slash around stumps, it would be interesting to try one.
We started out with a wide, low ground pressure tire that's about the size of an ATV tire on ours, Mike. And we had problems rolling over stuff. It did well in the mud, but rolling over slash and logs and stuff, or rocks, it was hard to do. We put the tall 16-inch tires on ours, and we found they do much better.
I'm thinking of the small one with the handle on it that you can move by hand, that I can take where there are no roads, where I'm yarding up a hill.
Yeah, I think it'd be fine for something like that. It's coming up the hill.
Just might mean I have to
if
clean
you
up more on my
looked
slash.
on YouTube, you can find videos on YouTube of the fetching arch being used with a winch in that exact sort of situation. There's some nice videos of how that works.
If I had one, I could make some videos about it.
Yeah, no doubt. Fetching arch.
Oh, you caught that.
Yep.
Well, I think it's about 9. It's time for me to probably wrap it up. But I just wanted to say that I really appreciated you guys having me on and showcasing some of the stuff that we do here at Log. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and I'd love to do this again in the future, and answer any more questions anybody has, and see what else LogRite has to offer. And I also look forward to seeing everybody that's joined us today at the trade shows that we'll be at in the future here.
Well, we'll definitely be at Boonville. We'll stop in and say hi.
I'll probably be at the one in Richmond, Virginia. I'll probably be at the one in Richmond.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, we appreciate you joining us, Zach, and I'm glad you could come on and answer some questions. And we'll direct everybody to your website at logrite.com, and all the pricing and all the stuff they have is right there on that website.
Thank you, Zach.
Yeah,
nice
thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you, Zach. Don't blink. Blink
Thank
once.
everybody. It's been a pleasure.
All right, you.
There you go.
It worked.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, so Out of the Woods and Woodworking Creative Designs. Are you still with us? You are still with us.
Were there any more questions in the comments we missed?
I didn't see many questions.
If you had any that we missed, type them again.
All right, so do you guys mind if I bring Out of the Woods on with us?
No, not at all.
I don't mind.
I don't
Would
mind.
you
It's Chris.
would you be willing to come on with us right now out of the woods? We got some questions. Maybe some people can ask you about woodworking. You don't need to be dressed.
Just a shirt would be fine.
Most of us only have a shirt on.
You
I'll
got,
have the yoga pants
I got
on.
no pants on. Just put on a hat and a shirt. Be fine.
Or just sit in the dark.
You know Steve's in his underwear. I mean, look at him. He's got to be in his underwear.
And I got my yoga pants on.
Yoga.
yoga
I knew
pants
that
on.
was coming.
All right, get a shirt, and we're gonna get a shirt, and we'll put a link up there for you to join us.
It's coming.
Yeah, I mean
Tim.
that's what this was going to be about was, woodworking and what
Right.
you do after your way to increase your profits on your sawmill.
I thought those table legs fit into what we talked about doing this stream about was value added.
Yes.
Yep.
I think it's a quick
Yes.
way to add value to a piece of wood. A lot of times I'll run to a beautiful piece of wood and I think, what am I going to do with this thing? I don't want to go through all the work of fabricating a table or something, but I can just clean it up and slap some legs on it. There you go.
All right, so I put the link up there, Rick.
All right. So out of the woods, there's a link up there under Two Brothers. Just click on that link and follow the instructions. Steve K says too much information. I know Steve K, what he does for a living. Don't tell me you haven't done what you do for a living without a pair of pants on. Or a shirt for that matter.
Uh-oh.
If nothing else, we have fun.
For sure.
So there's what you guys need on your next log art, or maybe just add it to one that you already got. There's a place to put your cant hook. Just a little
Rick was talking about that the other day.
set your cant hook in there on your log art. Take it with you. Strap it in there.
It'd have to be strapped in, John, because we go over stuff so bad with the log arches that anything on them goes off of them.
Yeah.
Just throw a bungee cord on there. You'll be good.
Well, the funny thing is I put it in my gun rack on my four-wheeler. So
There you go.
use that.
That
Yeah.
ain't going nowhere.
I mean, my
Yeah, that ain't going nowhere.
pew holder. I'm at.
That fetching arch sounds interesting because you could put it at the end of the log and then pick up the front of the log with the skidding winch and drag it out without getting a bunch of dirt in it.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if it would stay straight and not want to lead off. You'd have to hook it up somehow so it wouldn't swivel.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But
It'd be
maybe they
interesting
are
to
set
own
up
it.
to do that.
Well,
Yeah,
if
we've
it,
got some pretty curvy trails in the woods too.
if it has a long straight bar on it, Michael, I'm sure that you could probably strap it to part of the tree.
Yeah.
So it
Okay.
can't turn.
Tim, put that link in the comments again real quick.
All right. Hang tight.
All
I
right,
built
out of the
one
woods,
leading
you'll
north.
see a link. You'll see a link come up in the comments. Click on that link and follow the directions.
I don't know if he can click on it, but he can sure copy and paste it. He's going to have to copy and paste it, Rick. It's not coming up as a hyper link.
Can't just add him.
No, I didn't have that option on the invite.
StreamYard was talking about putting that in. You can just add people right from chat.
You might have to copy the link and paste it in your browser or on your phone or wherever you're on. First time I ever joined on somebody on StreamYard, Tim, I was able to click on the link.
Well, I don't know why it's not on the comments. It's not coming up on the comments as a hyperlink. I don't know. I mean, does he have an email or messenger? I can send it to that.
I don't know. Shoot.
I thought I would.
Adirondack woman with woodsman. How you doing?
Woman.
Woodsman. All right. So out of the woods, there's a link right there. See if you can copy and paste it on your browser.
Anyone have any questions while we're waiting?
Anybody got any questions on anything? I saw a couple people were saying hi to you, Michael.
Well, hi back to everyone.
So, Steve, do you have a kiln?
Yeah,
I thought you did.
solar kiln.
Solar kiln, Virginia Tech design.
Yeah. Virginia
Yep.
Tech design. I was going to say a while ago, I built one of them leading arch log haulers, and it worked perfect.
What kind of tires do you have on it?
Just regular 12-inch tires. But I built the bottom of it with like a U shape with some teeth on it, and when the log set down in it, so it didn't. Then it came up on the side, and the wheels on the side of it. And then a chain went across the top to hold it on there.
Rick, tell him the link's right up under him right now. Where he says he don't see the link. It's right up under him in chat.
It's right here in the chats. It's right underneath your
I don't see a link. Michael, there's a question for you. Dremel or hand file for your chainsaw?
I use hand file only, but I do square ground, so I wouldn't be able to use a Dremel. I use a 6-sided hand file.
So, Rick tried to run over and redo his raker on his Husky. That thing is so aggressive, it jumps right off the wood.
You got to be careful not to do it too much.
It was on that chain that I sent you the picture of. I've never seen a raker like that before.
Yeah.
And so I cut them off.
Just cut them off.
Well, I mean, I left a little bit there, but there wasn't much there after you cut the bend off.
All right, out of the woods, do you have an email or messenger or something like that I could send you the link?
Yes, 6-sided triangle file. It has
Oh,
3
can you
wide
see the
sides
chat?
on it and 3 narrow sides in between each wide side.
So what kind of chain is that, Michael, that you're talking about?
It's for a square ground chain. Instead of having the rounded gullet, it has a flat edge. A flat edge on the side and a flat edge on top that come together in a square corner.
Better mute. I'm going to mute for a second. I'll be right back.
Yes,
All
skip
right.
tooth.
And you like that square ground better?
Yeah, it's a smoother cutting, faster cutting chain. Some of the disadvantages are it takes a lot more skill to file them. It has a longer learning curve. A lot of people say they dull really quickly, and they might dull faster, but I don't have that. I don't seem like I have more problems with a dull chain with those than any other chain. Just keep them out of the dirt. That's the key.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had mine buried about 10 inches of dirt today. Wasn't good.
Well, Steve says the hyper chat's working, Rick. So, I mean, the hyperlink. I don't know. Is he on the YouTube channel maybe and not in here?
Oh, I don't know.
So with the square ground, does it work in your hardwoods out there too, or just the pine, or is it
I use it for everything.
everything? Works
Yep.
just as well in the hardwoods?
Works just fine in the hardwoods. I think it's mostly used by West Coast loggers, softwood, but it works fine in hardwood too. It's getting to where a lot of people aren't using them anymore. Even the pros are going to the round file. It's not a huge difference. One thing about them is they don't always cut as straight naturally. You can use your saw. You can actually do a curve with the square ground, whereas the round ground, they're more likely to track straight. But as long as you're holding your saw steady, it's easy to do a straight cut. It actually comes in handy a little bit doing an undercut. If your bottom cut on a Humboldt isn't lining up, you can twist your saw a little bit and curve your cut up or in whatever direction you want to go.
That'd be nice. That would be nice.
Well, I'm trying to look up to see if he has a Facebook page, but I got this stupid AI on Facebook that's trying to take over.
As late as it is, maybe we should invite him on another night.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can do that.
So, does anybody else? Do we actually do the? 6 of us actually do any value added? You know what I mean, to our lumber?
We don't.
I don't. I'm just now starting to dry mine a little bit. That's as far into value added as I've ever gotten.
Yeah, we just dry it and sell it, a little bit of it.
But I mean, your kiln, kiln drying is value adding.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
yeah,
For sure.
Hey,
Especially in the hardwoods.
yeah,
Steve has some videos about his kiln, I think.
yeah. I got some videos on there when I build it and everything about it.
Yep.
I think
he just threw you under the bus, Andy.
I think I just put one on not too long ago about loading it.
Yeah, I need to get.
Sorry, Rick. I was trying to help Chris get in.
Yeah, he just threw you under the bus.
Oh.
Do you guys got his email address?
Do you, Paul?
Or you can text him maybe?
Pine one buys.
I don't sell pine, but for fir, I'm getting $6 for those. On one buys, I'm doing $6 per inch in width. I mean, $1 per inch in width for 8 foot. And when I was selling pine, it was similar.
Are you selling much now, John?
I'm still selling.
Oh yeah.
I think
I'm still selling.
I think the economy is not doing too well right now. We've slowed right up. We've tried everything.
I ain't sold nothing lately. I do a lot of mobile milling, so
I have done a lot of mobile milling
yeah.
here lately too.
I gotta go.
I'm still selling the cheapest pine there is, white pine, for more than anybody else is selling it for. And I'm selling it for $2 a board foot. And and that's air dried. Kiln dried's more than that. And I'm not saying that it's flying out of here or anything, but and people don't like the $2 a board foot, but and I don't like $5 a gallon gas either, $4 a gallon gas either,
Yeah,
so
I'm selling green one by material for about $1.50 a foot, board foot. I'll put an ad on Craigslist for say 30 boards. I'll have several people who want it. It might take a week to get it moved, but I'm moving wood. I'm not cutting much wood, but what I am cutting, I'm able to sell.
That's Douglas fir, right?
That's Douglas fir.
Yeah, Douglas fir, even in Home Depot, sells higher than regular wood.
Well, around here, that is regular wood. If it's not Douglas fir, it's exotic.
I did want to tell you, Michael, that we had a bunch of big orders at the end of last year, and we had a ton of flitches piled up. And every time we looked at them, we just cringed. We sold every one of them today as flitches, just the way they were laying on the ground. Guy took every single one of them.
I complain about it, but maybe that's the big money maker, selling flitches as live edge.
Ooh.
He didn't buy it as live edge. He was looking for something to put down in his muddy tent garage. And I pointed at the pile of flitches. I said, "We got those if you can use them." And he jumped right on them.
Maybe I should advertise them as muddy tent garage flooring. Innovative muddy tent garage flooring.
We tried for years.
Organic.
We tried for years trying to get rid of it and couldn't even give the stuff away.
Do you have Rick's stuff?
No, I don't use Legacy stuff.
Use my phone.
But
Weird. I still sell the flitches. You know, I have a problem selling the flitches.
Can hey Andy?
Yep.
Can Paul send him the link on email, or you?
That's what we were just talking about. I've got you.
Hang on a second. Let me see if I can send it to you, Andy.
I put the link in through our channel, and
Yeah.
I think I think YouTube is filtering it out so that people can't put links in your lives.
Probably. Yeah, he'll probably just have to do it like on a regular Google.
That's the way I do it. I just sign in on Google and sign in that way.
Thanks, Adirondack Woodsman. This is just the way I look when I don't have dirt all over me. People aren't used to seeing me clean.
Just hey, Andy, just have him put in a regular Google, like Google search link, that hyperlink, and have him click on it.
Oh, gotcha.
That
I think what happens is when people try and come to YouTube or Facebook or whatever, like you said, it blocks it. This is on a Microsoft program type thing, or just Google or whatever.
Do you have a way to message him?
So,
We can email him from his channel. Paul's working on it.
Oh, there's Craig from Gilted Sawyer. Hey, Craig.
pressure treated 1x6 at Home Depot. See, I don't compete with Home Depot.
No, I don't even try.
I think I'd rather cut it into firewood than try to
Can you
compete with
get the
Home
link?
Depot.
Yeah.
I can't cut it for that. There's no way to do it. Not for me. I can't.
It makes more sense to me to put the logs on the log truck and sell them to the mill than it would be to sell them at Home Depot price. I could almost get as much for the wood that way
With a lot less work.
with a lot less work.
Yeah. Yep,
Yeah,
I don't even
talk
talk.
about it.
All right, so Cheeto Keto here's got a. So at that price, what you do is you get him to turn and stack his own lumber, and you just saw for him.
There you go.
Let him supply the labor. You do the sawing. Hello, Dan.
There's Grizz. Hey, Grizz, what's up?
Paul's working on emailing the link.
Oh, good.
I just emailed the link out to him. I don't know if he's got it or not.
Okay.
Yeah, all you just got to do is click on the hyperlink. It should bring them right in here.
John, on your mobile milling, you have helpers?
I do not. I mean, if they help, that's great. And but it's still $95, $100 an hour, whether they're helping or not.
Yeah.
So I'll do it by myself. It's just you're not going to get your $100 an hour worth. You know what I mean? You're not going to get any value out of it. I've had one job that I did for, I was there for a week, and I cut the lumber, I stacked the lumber, I built the lumber stacks, I cut all the stickers to go in there. I cut the 4x4s for the lumber stacks. I leveled the lumber stacks. I stacked every piece of lumber on the lumber stack.
That's too much like a real job.
And yeah, but it's still, it was still $100 an hour. And I'm like, man, you should get you a couple kids here, pay them $10 an hour to stack lumber. You get a lot more value for it.
Yeah, that's
If
why
they're paying you $100 an hour to say cut 2x4s and 2x6s, are they going to get lumber that's cheaper than Home Depot doing it that way? Now that Home Depot's $3 and something for a 2x4 here anyway,
Yes.
still going to be cheaper.
Yes. But most people around here, it's not, I'm not cutting the 2x4s though. We just don't have the lumber to cut 2x4s. You know what I mean? We don't have the pine to be cutting 2x4s. We don't have the southern yellow pine. We don't have the hemlock. We don't, we got white pine, and you just don't want to make 2x4s out of it. I just refuse to make 2x4s out of white pine.
Well,
So-
we don't do mobile milling, but we do have people to bring their logs to us, and we can saw them cheaper than Home Depot if they're willing to put in the labor. In other words, if all we're doing is sawing and they're doing all the labor, we can maintain enough board feet per hour to make it worth their while. If we have to move the wood and stack it ourselves, they lose out.
See, I take helpers with me. I mean, I get helpers, and I tell them it's $25 an hour for a helper, because I just won't do it. I won't.
Well, we do better by when we do dimensional wood, like 1x, the 10s, the 12s, the wider the better. Siding seems to fly for us, but 2x4s or 2x6s, not so much, unless it's for like the horse fencing that we were doing last year.
Well, if they're paying $100 an hour and paying me to mill and stack and unload and all that, they're losing money. Because I done proved it. I done proved it to a guy. We spent 8 hours doing 4 logs one day. I took a helper with me for $25 an hour, and we did 13 logs in 4 hours.
Wow.
And so he saved money. They look at the $25 like, oh man, that's a lot of money to spend. But in the end, when you add the hours up and the wood, they beat Home Depot and Lowe's all day long.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah, I can beat Home Depot and Lowe's if you want to bring me a log to my mill and let me cut it on my own time. I can beat.
There we go.
Beat Home Depot by half the price almost.
Yep.
There we go.
There we go.
Hello, Chris.
There he is. Hey,
It's the
Chris.
first time I've been able to do something like that. I appreciate it.
Well, we brought you on. We brought you on for a reason, Chris.
Okay, I'm going to cut some of the other windows off that I have open so that hopefully I won't get any echoing.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Just don't freeze up with your eyes closed.
Yeah, well, I'll have to take
We
my
had enough of
binoculars
that.
off, or I could paint them and frog them over.
There you go.
If you hear the TV, my daughter's watching cartoons in the background. So
It'll have to drown ours out.
yeah,
So we've all introduced ourselves. You know who we are, Chris.
yeah. I've been on a couple of your lives in the past and
Okay.
watched. So I got to meet some of you.
Well, the
We're-
reason we
ahead.
wanted to bring you on, you see the topic right there below your picture.
There's a
Adding-
typo on it.
Yeah, adding value and increasing profits from your sawmill.
Oh, okay.
Your name,
No.
your name came up earlier this week because you
Stop
actually
it.
saw,
Stop it.
you actually saw wood and produce your own
There you go,
products
Val.
from your wood, correct?
That's right. So,
So
and
what do you build? Talk to us and tell us what you build.
well, starting as of last July, I kind of got more serious about it and started building. I got a booth at an antique mall, and they started doing artisan type work now as well. So what that means is not only are they just selling antiques, they're selling people's work. And I was one of the ones that inspired that with the new owners. So I've got one of the largest booths in that mall, and it's mainly just cutting boards, live edge shelves, tables, anything I can build. Basically, I'm trying to use up the scraps or stuff that doesn't make great wood when you can cut these up and make cutting boards out of them. Because you don't have to have but a 16 to 12-inch piece of wood. And you can use a lot of qualified as far as sellable lumber that the general public would want to buy. And it's been very well. It's doing really good. I mean, really good. It surprised me. It has really surprised me. So,
Well, you kiln dry your own lumber.
we have a air dry kiln, and I do have a way to heat it to get it up to over 160 for 24 hours if need be. I'm working on making an experimental kiln that's something maybe like you can put 5 or 6 foot stuff in, like for wide slabs, something that an average person may be able to do who wants to be able to get lumber from one of us or a mill, and they could kiln dry it themselves versus putting it in air dry in their garage or basement or whatever.
Right.
So I'm going to do that on the show, but I'm going a million different directions with everything right now, and I enjoy it because I'm retired, and so I have more than enough time to do all the things I want to do. And I'm just like a lot of you guys, just trying to survive from day to day. The economy isn't that great. We're in Virginia, right outside of that place up north, of Richmond. So,
Yeah.
we hear about it, but we are on 301. The mall we have is on 301. So we get north and south traffic out of Richmond, DC. They're traveling from up that way. So it's a good clientele, and they, have expendable money. So it's doing well. But, like you guys were saying, as far as like 2x4s, 2x6s, 2x8s, framing material, to be able to produce it at the mill and compete with Lowe's, Home Depot, and all these other stores, there's no way I can do it. First of all, I don't have any pine, so I would be trying to do that with poplar, and poplar is a veneer wood, which is worth a lot more money. Now, we have plenty of it, and I have done situations where I have trees that have been dying. They're getting heart rot, and I don't want the wood, and I don't have the room for it anymore. I'm overstocked, so I will sell it at that price. If they come down, hang out with me at the mill, I'll cut it up. We'll put it on the forks and put it right on their truck or the trailer. And other than that, I don't. And it's just they have to order over $500 of stuff. I can't go out there for a day, run the tractor, go up in the woods, cut a tree down, drag it back, and do all that work. And that seems to be fine, but it only happens here, there, and very rare. It's special occasions.
You're on 301.
Go ahead.
You're on 301.
We're not. Our place isn't on 301, but the antique mall is on 301.
On 301. I think I know where it's at.
Yeah, it's a unique. They call it unique antique mall, and now instead of it just being an antique mall, it's a artisan and antique mall. So they've recognized that there's a lot of value in having other artists. Well, I mean, it could be from painting to people who do glass work, pottery, woodwork is a big. I'm one of the only ones there. There's another person there, and they kind of give me that area without letting other people, kind of step on it. There's a couple other gentlemen there that do really good work, and I love it. And I don't really care. I'm doing it as a hobby and extra money. All this is for me to just enjoy the craft. I don't do it as a primary income. It's just
I don't either. We're on 17.
Fun. It's fun.
I'm right on 17.
Are you in Stafford up on 17?
I'm on Gloucester.
On where?
Gloucester.
Oh, you're further up.
I'm further down.
Oh, further. Yeah, you're right. The other end. Yeah. Down.
Yeah.
Down. Yeah. Well, you're from where Rob's at. Whitman.
Where?
From Rob. Well, where Rob's from? Whitman. Our congressman. Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to go down to the Gloucester Oyster Fest all the time. That's how I first met him years ago.
Okay.
So, yeah. Nice place. Good people.
So, what's one of your best-selling products, Chris?
Cherry and maple.
Ours too. Yep.
It's not like I don't have enough of it. If you watch my channel, you'll see we have just about lost all the cherry. It's just dying. And if it starts dying and those pelted woodpeckers find out, they will go upside that tree and down the other side in a month and destroy it. There'll be no lumber left in it. And same.
Why are they dying?
I don't really know. Because we have, if you go watch my channel, I have a low-lying area where there's a stream that comes through. It's next to my range, and I expected to have issues there because that water level. We've had a lot of rain more than I guess over the past, and that area I noticed is staying more wet. Well, I understand if they're having more wet feet, that could be an issue, especially with the maple. All the trees down there. But then I've got trees on the other 290 acres on the other side. It's high and dry. And this year I've been driving around and just taking trees down that are dying because I don't want to lose the lumber. I mean, I've got so much air dry, and I probably have 5,000 to 10,000 board feet in cherry. And I just lost a small walnut, which you saw if you watch my channel. I had a heck of a time getting it down. It was next to the road, hit a big nail 15 feet up in the tree. I don't know how that got there. But I guess a tree stand. But I've got another massive walnut that is dying, and it all seems to stem around the heart rot. They're either hollow or they're down at the base, which is dangerous as well, dropping them. So I've had to cut trees up 4 to 5 feet tall up at that height just to get away from the possibility of having it hollow and being dangerous to drop. So,
All right. Do you mind if I butt in here for a second, Chris?
No, go for it. I'll talk like you got to shut me up.
we had one question come up. Charged by the hourly or board feet when you're portable milling?
Well,
who wants to take that question?
Okay.
Chris?
That's a good Eric question, but he's not here.
That's a great question, and it comes up all the time, and everybody's arguing about it. What are you going to charge by the board foot? So I do both. If you bring me a log and you set it on the ground here or leave it on your trailer, and you go home for a week and you don't bug me about it on when you're going to get it, then I can charge by the board foot, and I can put it on the trailer. I can put it back on the trailer as lumber in my free time, on my time. And that's the only way I charge by the board foot. Hourly, in my opinion, you've got to charge. If you're going portable to their house, you've got to charge hourly. And the reason is because if you show up to somebody's house and you're charging by the board foot, then guess what? All those logs aren't piled up in a nice pile and ready to be put on the mill. There's one over here, and there's one over there, and there's one over there. Now I've got to go roll that log, which I don't mind doing for $100 an hour. But by the board foot, I'm not going to go 50 feet and roll that log over to the mill. You know what I mean? And then go 150 feet to roll that log, and then go 500 feet that way to roll that log. Not for board foot price.
You mean your mill don't pull the logs?
No, my mill doesn't pull logs and it doesn't cut the trees down, and you can't stand it up either.
I get that question all the time. I thought your mill pulled the logs to the mill. No,
No,
it loads them on the mill. That's it.
that's it.
Now what we do is if somebody brings us a log, if we're cutting timbers, we charge by the board foot. If we're cutting 1-bys, we charge by the hour. And that's because it takes so much longer to cut 1-bys than it does timbers. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I cut by the log. It's $100 a log. I don't care what you're looking for. If you want 1/16 of an inch board, I'll give it to you. If you want 2x10, 12 by 12s, it's $100 a log. That's even if it's 4 foot long or 20 foot long. Don't matter to me. It's $100 a log.
Wow.
That's my time.
Let me put in my order for stickers right now.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing in the world to cut.
And we want them 3/8 of an inch thick.
No
Yes.
problem. Send me a check in the mail.
Yeah, we charge 90.
A check? I've got a check.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, we charge 90 an hour. If I have somebody that says, like I have a friend that wants to frame in his, I guess it's an open air garage, or at least 3 sides of it are. So he needs 2x4s and he wants siding boards. So we figured out how much he needed. And he says, what's the best price you give me? I looked at it, considered what trees I have there on the log yard that I like to move. And I just gave him a blanket price. He's a friend too, classmate. But I know how much time it takes me to do this if I'm left alone. Now, we have a big tractor. We have a log all on it. I can move logs 30 foot around. I've got a winch on top of the mill. I can, for me to turn them and do all that stuff, it doesn't take me any time. If you watch me do the work with the mill, the chain around, I can roll them. It's not a hydro mill. I like having the overhead crane to turn them because it's more precise. I can get it right at that 90. I can go the other way. I can lift the log up and spin it 180 degrees. If I got something that's got curves on it, it won't stop again. The bottom stops when you first put a flat spot on it. So I can be very efficient at how I do stuff. And if nobody's bugging me, to do 1,000 board feet in a day wouldn't, I just get in my little groove and I have the lumber stacked right near the mill. And I can go get the tree. I mean, I've taken down big poplars, 4 or 5 that morning, come back, get a coffee, get a little something to eat. I don't like to eat a whole lot. And to get milling, and by about 5 o'clock, it's all done. So
what mill do you have?
It's just an LT 140, and we have the extension on it, so we can do 30 feet. But the biggest thing is that overhead crane and that tractor with the log all. I mean, it's just.
Oh no, he blinked.
It's just having set up to where I can do that. So
His picture blinked, but his voice didn't. It kept going.
oh, okay.
That's why I charge by the log. If I want to stop and have a cup of coffee, have a sandwich, or stop for a minute and take a break.
Well, my breaks come with my price.
Yeah, I'm not cheap about it. I don't feel like I'm cutting into their time.
Well, you got to drink and you got to have something to eat during the day. So I don't feel it's cutting in their time. But
so Andy, you guys charge by the hook, right?
We Paul just changed the order we were doing for the tree guy. He was gonna charge by the hour, but he ended up charging by the board foot. He just found it easier to calculate.
Still going through a lot of blades, or no?
No, we just had the weirdest blade. We had a 10 degree that we put on the mill, and that thing went through like 5 or 6 logs. It just wouldn't die, and it kept cutting good. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
I use
the 10 degree. The 10 degree does really good if you have a lot of knots and branches. Yep. It'll just go right through them all day long. So it's considered a medium hardwood pitch blade. So
And
Chris?
we finished up the pine that we're milling into 1x8, which was really knotty and branchy, and then we did a couple other logs after that, and that thing just wouldn't die. It was really strange. It just kept going and going.
Yeah, I
Chris,
like-
you have a question down there. Looks
Yeah.
like somebody's trying to subscribe to you.
yeah, Hard Rock. Yeah, the if you go to Just Out of the Woods, you're going to go to Nathaniel's page. He's got a beard and a hat. He's a great guy. You should subscribe to his channel. Nathan's is a really good guy too. But you got to put in the Out of the Woods to woodworking, and I think it's the and sign creative wood design. It's you know, it's kind of what I do. So that's how I listed it. You take it out of the woods, you woodwork it, and you know, design it. But I had to do it that way because other people had out of the woods already.
Chris, type Sawmill down in comments there and see if it puts up your link.
Type Sawmill.
Yeah, in the comments, and then hit enter.
Yeah,
See
I
if
have
it-
to figure out where to. It says join chat. Okay, there we go.
You have a comments to the right side up on the top.
I do, but choose your account, your brand, your stream. What?
No, it should say comments. It's a square box.
I
in the
know.
top
When I
right.
did it, it said join
Oh,
chat.
okay.
Well, it said join chat. In order for me to join chat, it has to go through my account. So that's what it's trying to do.
Gotcha. Okay.
It says connect. Now I got to pick what I want to connect through, which is, yeah, it's got my other. I've got the regular name, but once it lets me talk on there, then I'll do that. So
I don't even know if that stupid bot works anymore or not. I haven't
I
used
don't know.
it so long.
it's
What's the full name of your channel again? I was just searching for it.
I'm typing it in the things right now, and
I just typed it in.
for some reason it doesn't always come up, and people have told me that, and I've got it on my business cards, and I don't know. I think just because there's other people that are really similar and they've been on there longer, so it's doing is it's going to them, like Nathan's channel.
That's what it's doing. It's sending me to Nathan's channel.
Right, but once you put the whole thing in there, it should come up. I've had an issue with that, and I've talked to the person that's helped me with the YouTube and asked them why does it do that? It shouldn't just do that. And that's part of
Grizz asked an interesting question.
Go ahead.
Grizz asked an interesting question about putting the log stops on the other side of the mill.
I mean, on the non-machine side, or our machine is.
So the blades entering from the other direction, or the other direction in relation to the log stops. There's another channel, I'm trying to think of his name, who has a mill like that. It comes from the factory, so your blade's going in on the clean, already cut side instead of the bark side. Trying to think of his name. Hometown Acres. His mill does that.
Oh, I didn't even pay attention to that. I'll have to look the next time I watch his videos. I didn't even know they made one like that.
So when you cut off make your first cuts, you turn it 90 degrees. And instead of the blade entering on the bark side, it's entering from the cut side, the clean side.
Easy boardwalk.
Easy boardwalk, that's what it is. That's the mill.
Is that what it is? But is that something that he can go one way, then change it the other way? Because wouldn't it be reversed if you're cutting from the right to the left? If you were to start that same way with the other, wouldn't that always put the bark on the other side? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Wouldn't it be opposite of what it's doing now and be the same thing?
I haven't watched it enough to know. I just heard him say that it works that way, and it sounded like an intriguing idea.
That is, yeah.
It'd be the same thing.
Okay, I found your channel now.
Yeah, I
Yeah, you
just
got to type in the whole thing.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta, yeah, I just
Yeah, but the only problem with that I can see is your blade wants to drag the cant
Down.
the way the direction the blade is going. If you don't have anything to stop the cant, it's going to push it right off the back of the mill. I
So you're
suppose you
saying
could use,
That's
I
why
suppose
the log stops are on that other side, so it's pushing against the log
right,
stops.
the log stops. Yeah.
I think that's what Grizz said that he did. He installed the log stops on the other side.
I don't.
I guess your dogs could hold it in place, but it looks to me like the cant would want to flip up, naturally with the blade moving in that direction.
I mean, like the LT, it has a single post on one side, so that as the blade spinning this way, it's holding that machine kind of level. But if you were to reverse it, then there's no arm over here, so that's going to be pulling the machine down. Or is his got arms on both sides? I can't remember. for
I
some
don't
reason.
remember.
I think his got arms on both sides.
They're not.
Some
that
way
bad.
they made it so you can do that. I don't remember how.
Did he buy that mill or he built that mill?
I think he's got a Harbor Freight mill.
Harbor Freight. Yeah, I thought he modified that mill that way.
Well, I imagine he did.
Yeah, because
That's
I
what
think
he
the
said in the comments. He modified it.
Yeah, because I watched
Oh.
his channel a couple times.
Yeah.
So on Hometown Acres, his comes from the factory that way. It was designed to be that way to avoid dirt.
Right. Yeah, we never did
I just
get
don't
it.
remember how it was built. I haven't watched it in a long time.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, to cut into a clean side, but I just can't. You have to hold the cant from moving because the blade naturally wants to flip the cant away from that side that he's talking about. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yep.
Would that also put the log like way away from where you're standing? I mean, like I'm knocking stuff over now. Wouldn't that put the now you got the log, you're standing over here, now you got the log pushed all the way over to the right? Wouldn't that just be a little awkward? I mean, yeah, I mean that would not seem right.
Looks like Grizz needs to make a video on how that works.
Yeah,
He hasn't already.
he probably has. I'll look it up. I never paid attention, to be honest with you. It's blue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 4-post.
Yeah.
On
He put a little
Hometown
info.
Acres, it's blue. His is
Green.
Harbor Freight, I think.
Yeah,
The
green.
one.
I think
Green.
it's green.
Right. Like their lathes, all their lathes and stuff like that are all green.
Yeah. Yeah, Hometown Acres is blue.
Yeah, and he put a little roof over it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 4-post.
Right. I started watching him when he first started building that pond.
Yeah.
That was before he did all that stuff. So, yeah, my channel's only, let's see, I started it a year, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, something like that. So, just something fun to do.
Yep.
I just
try to.
I just subscribed to you, Chris.
I
I did
appreciate
too.
you.
I just subscribed to you.
Yeah. But I've been watching Paul and is it Andy? No.
Yep.
Yep, that's what I thought. I don't have the greatest memory. Sometimes,
No problem.
been tore up a little bit through the years, my service and other stuff. So, not always the brightest light bulb out there or the sharpest tool on the shelf, but I get by. So,
I'm getting behind on Paul and Andy's videos. MSD2. I need to binge watch one of these days.
Shoot, I can't catch up with nobody.
It's tough.
Yeah.
well, if
I
you're
can't
doing
put
your
out a
own thing,
video.
I don't know about you guys, but I've been sharing each and every single one of you guys on our Facebook.
oh, cool.
I appreciate it.
So and then I'll add you too, Chris, on all your videos that come out.
I appreciate
So
it.
I
Appreciate
do
it.
that for everybody on here.
Thank you.
So you're welcome.
Yeah, I found that sometimes going across the different social media, you can't always get the same name, especially because mine is so long. So you have to go under a different name, and then people kind of recognize you as, well, my name's Chris. They recognize my face, and they say, okay, that's you on Instagram, that's you on
Right.
TikTok and all that. But one of these days, I'll be a big boy YouTuber and have over 1,000 people. But I think I'm getting close. So
We're close.
Well,
maybe
when
they'll
we
send me
add
$2.
The
when
more
we
you
add the
do, the harder
videos,
it is to keep up.
when we add the videos to our Facebook page, it gives the diversity on our Facebook page, and it seems like the followers we have on Facebook really like that diversity.
Right. Like I share on my YouTube, I don't really share a lot of the building of products on there. It's generally the mill, me going out in the woods, getting trees and stuff like that, or some little bit of hunting and maybe some, if I'm on the range or just my life. It's kind of in general my life, but I don't share a lot unless I have sponsors, which I do have some. And their products are all to do with woodworking. So then I incorporate some of that stuff in, which is Preservation Solutions is one of the big ones. And you all may be familiar with that company. And if you're doing woodwork or preserving it, stuff, it's one of the big ones, and they've been really good and supportive. So, I've been blessed with them, coming along. So it's been fun,
How's the milling at night going for me? I tried it once. I didn't like it. I didn't inhale. I didn't do it again.
I didn't inhale. But you are nice and bright, though.
That was bright. It was like daylight. I just wanted to be in my bed. I didn't want to be milling. I want to be in my bed.
Yeah.
It was 12 o'clock when I was done.
Wow.
Oh, I don't think I'd ever stay out that late.
Now,
I got lights, but I'm not staying out that late.
I did sell some lights, though.
Did
you?
Good for you.
We're out in the woods a lot after dark for some reason, one reason or another. I don't know why. But after Tim watched your video, Michael, he was like, I don't know why he's not scared being out there by himself.
I had all the deer around me to protect me.
That is funny how the deer and animals like to come around.
Cougars and bear and
Somebody saw the deer on my last video just hanging around me right where I was working. They're wondering, why are the deer there? Do you feed them? Well, the deer hear the chainsaw, they hear the equipment, and they know there's going to be goodies on the ground for them to eat. So they come running.
Yeah, every time
Eating the lichen and things off the branches that are on the ground.
Every time we knock down a tree, especially when there's snow on the ground, we can't keep the deer away from us. They come right into the tops of the tree and start nibbling the ends of the branches.
That fresh food there for them.
oh yeah, all the bugs, leaves.
All that oxygen in those leaves and everything from sunshine being up there.
We got woken up a couple of nights ago. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I should say. The dog started freaking out. We had a bear trying to climb the deck. They never come up the stairs. They have to try to. Our deck is on the second story, so they try to climb up. The dog was freaking out.
Oh my goodness!
So we finally got him chased away, but he woke us up a couple times.
Yeah, Grizz, I got the bot working, so just type in Sawmill and your link to your YouTube channel will pop up there.
You want me to try that?
I just did. It works.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that, Chris. Go ahead and try it.
Yeah, you're probably more familiar with how to do all that stuff. I've been trying to use the hash tags and stuff like that to try to get the algorithms to start doing that. It's just I don't understand all this stuff. I built houses and I was a landscaper and it was Navy. I didn't. We didn't have cell phones.
Well,
we didn't have all this stuff. We had 8-track players.
Chris, when you figure out that algorithm, you just let us all know, okay?
Yeah, I know. Everybody tells me that, But I typed in. You mean type in Sawmill in the comments or type in Sawmill?
No, it came up.
Okay.
It came up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Fire season. That question might be for me. We're not in fire season yet. Fire season doesn't start until usually June, 1st of June, sometimes May. We can still burn outdoors now. It's still the wet season. Starting to dry out though.
That was kind of weird seeing you doing your burning because this is the time of year that we're banned from burning.
Yeah.
It's
We
the
can't
opposite on the
burn
wet
until
coast.
May.
We get all our water in the fall, winter, and spring, and then in the summer, sometimes we get zero rain.
Grizz, it's just Sawmill, not the exclamation point or I Sawmill. It's just Sawmill. That's it.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, you guys probably
Years.
saw the fires we had here in Virginia recently.
2 years ago, when our burn ban went away, we burned some brush, and I set the woods on fire and burned about 5 acres.
No, I won't admit to that happening.
When we
Like
have
you
more
said.
time, I can tell my story about that one day. 2 fires in the same day on opposite sides of the property. That was a long day. That was not a fun day
I bet it was.
or night.
I have a tendency I like to see things kind of blow up out of the ground like stumps and stuff. So the neighbors are always, what's he doing on the range now? And that's what they think, I'm on the range. So that's good enough. So we got to have a little fun every once in a while.
Well, that wasn't my first fire, unfortunately. And after that one, my wife's like, "Give me your lighter. You're not allowed to carry that anymore."
Oh, what's funny was she comes running down with a gallon jug of water. Here, put it out.
But yeah, I like to get with some of the you guys or something. I've been trying to go to shows and meet people and kind of do like the meet and greet, and I always seem to miss them. Like apparently that show that I mentioned was April 12th and 13th at Meadows Park, even though I thought that they were having one at the Richmond Raceway, but when I looked it up, I don't see anything under the Richmond Raceway or the Expo Center there. So I don't know, you know.
Yeah, it was up there. It was up there. I missed it too because I was mobile milling. I couldn't change my schedule.
Our axles and wheels are up in the loft and have been there for over 20 years. They're not going back on unless it's gonna get a new mill. And we just put a new motor on it the year before last, and I just put the new drive bearing hub in it, and then the other bearing went out like a week later. So I got a new mill. So
Yeah,
not doing anything with it, you know. Unless a sponsor wants to give me one, and I'll be glad to tear it up and use it really, really well.
there you go.
We always tell Steve the show's on Saturday when really the show's on Friday. That way he doesn't show up.
Yeah, they always throw me off.
What sawmill did they close down by Myrtle Beach, and why did they close it down?
We just lost some more out here too.
Is that right?
Yeah, they just announced a company that has several mills just to the north of me shutting down permanently.
Wow.
No, I can't. I was telling Tim the other day, I can't figure it. When the price of logs drops to nothing, lumber goes sky high.
Right.
When lumber drops to the price of nothing, logs seem to go sky high. So you can't get ahead of it. I maybe it's just a lag. I don't know why.
But they're logging
Out here,
like
it's not so much that way. Lumber prices are low. Logs are relatively high compared to the price of lumber. That's one of the reasons I think the mills are struggling. Because the lumber price is so low, they have to have the log prices up higher because the price of logging is so high.
That's what I was saying. It seems like I've been doing this for a long time. It seems like every time lumber goes sky high, the log prices bottom out to nothing. And then when lumber prices drop to nothing, the log prices go sky high. It seems like it never catches up with the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's always flip flop, back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're logging like crazy around here. I mean,
Yeah, they are down here too.
You know,
But
I don't know what
never
they're doing with it.
I never priced the logs because I've never bought logs. So
Well, I mean, here, I think, you know, poplar brings about probably 18 to 20 cents, you know, on the stump. Cherry may bring 53 or so. If they're looking for that specialty lumber, they usually sell that. I have a friend that does it, and he only does select cut, and he looks for like walnut, cherry, high grade poplar, stuff like that. He's not coming in and strip clearing and stuff like that. And he gets a little better price, but he's selling to more private, smaller mills who are like me, will take the log and process it and then sell it to creators or crafters or people who do stuff like that. Like that's what I make all my money from. It's not these shops, doing this building this stuff. It's selling it to other people who do that, And then there's a place in Iceberg that sells all high-end material, and they've been asking me to bring stuff there, and I'm like, well, I don't want to give you what you want for it. I'm not losing that much for it. I can sell it right here in my back door. I got buildings and it's all set up,
Right.
I got a website and everything. So
There's a place in West Point that buys a lot of logs for customers.
right. I can get stuff from these tree companies. But I tell them, hey, don't bring me nothing less than 8 foot long, and I don't want poplar because we got poplar, everywhere here. And but I want cherry, walnut, nice maple if it's a good size maple. And they'll bring them 16 foot long. They'll get whatever they get on the trailer, unless they got to cut it up. And if they can handle it, they just throw it on there. And there's a place down here in the bottom. I tell them just dump it, and I pick through it, as I want to do something with it,
Yeah, that's what tree service around here will bring you anything you want.
Yeah, and it hasn't been an issue. And then a lot of them are like, well, we get all our chips. Can you help us out? We want a bit of dump them locally. Well, I got tons of low spots and banks out here and trails. So I say, yeah, just dump it out here. It's not going to hurt anything,
Little trade off.
Yeah. So it helps them relieve them of that burden of having to haul it to the dump and pay the dump fees.
$85 a ton.
Yeah. So, and it's never overwhelming. I mean, it's not been an issue. I use it for soil build. I've got a lot of erosion areas and trails and areas, and I just, throw it in the dump trailer and haul it down there.
Yeah. Waste management charge $85 a ton.
Wow. Yeah. Well, our dump here needs to be shut down because it's about 10 times the size it was supposed to be, but they do use those chips as a medium between the layers.
Yeah.
But then they still charge them. I mean, they charge them a lot.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So we got a question up there. What is your least favorite wood to mill and why? I'll go first. On that. My least favorite mill, I actually like milling it, but I can't stand the pitch, is white pine. White pine is about the pitchiest wood there is out there, I believe. John?
That's easy. Cherry. I hate milling cherry because I always got to go eat. I always got to stop and eat lunch. That smell makes me hungry.
Get some
So
chocolate.
I just got to stop and go eat. I hate milling cherry.
Just keep playing chocolate with it. You'll be all right.
Yeah, I got to go have lunch.
Michael?
I'm still trying to think of which one. I like them all that I've milled, except I have to say big leaf maple because, well, that's not fair because I only milled one small big leaf maple log, and every piece I cut turned into rocking chair stock. Wow. But I think that was just that one tree.
Yeah, it was.
I'd say
otherwise, I like pretty much every type of wood I've milled.
Yeah, I get tired of poplar because poplar, it can be so reactive. So, matter of fact, the bigger the log, the worse it is. It's got a lot of reaction in it, and you can be cutting along. The thing can be perfectly looking great. Let's sit there and just pop. That's the whole joke about poplar is why they call it poplar, because it just pops open. So you sit there and you think you're doing really good, and you go and cut that log down the middle, and it's like a banana, and you're like, well, what am I going to get out of it? I can't even get a quarter of what I originally wanted. I got to cut down 10 more trees to get one tree's worth of cherry or, good clean boards that are not reactive. So
that's what that maple did.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I tell them. My worst wood is poplar because poplar is the only wood that I know that's got a mind of its own.
It's got a mind for me and you.
Yeah. You'll flip that cant about 50 times trying to cut a couple boards because it wants to twist and turn so much.
Right.
I like the poplar wood when you get it, but trying to get a straight piece of wood out of poplars, I hate it.
Yeah.
We experienced that with aspen, which is poplar's cousin. So
Oh, it is. Yeah, we don't have any of that here. So
We
I
don't
would,
have none of that down here.
I mean, if you get a poplar that's around 16 inches or smaller,
It's
You
all
know,
right.
it's all right. I mean, you can manage it as long as you're rolling it every 2 or 3 boards as you're going around the cant.
That's the
You know,
concept.
and offsetting it, and so you get to the heartwood. Yeah, you're okay. I mean, you
But
I've
you're
made a lot of great lumber that way. You know,
But you're constantly turning it and flipping. I mean, just
right. And if you and Paul and Andy may hear me say it on my mill several times that my 2 center bucks, the 2 outsides, are about an 1/8 inch taller, maybe a little more than the 2 in the center. And I did that for a reason, is because that wood will move and I don't want it picking it up. And by having that just a little lower, it keeps me laying flat on the mill. And then when I have something less than 8 foot, I have to make sure it stays on those 2 center bucks. And then that way, it's because it's a little more than the 1/8 off. But I had to do that because we have so much poplar, and for the historical home, and when we build all our buildings, that's what we make most of our siding out of.
Yep.
But I have gone over to our gum. We have red gum here,
I love gum.
and if you cut it right away and nail it up for siding, and you don't make sure you double nail it through both pieces so it can move. Andy, Paul, you guys go to my site, you'll see my buildings, and absolutely beautiful stuff. You know, reverse board and bat. I mean, it is. I frame with it. I build the buildings out of with it. Just do it while it's somewhat green, and it's tough as nails. It's great. I mean, I build our pallets. I build all our buildings, our sheds. I mean, we got so much of it free.
And everybody will give it to you instantly because it ain't worth a crap for firewood.
Right. And I sell a lot of it, believe it or not, for people for siding and framing. And I just tell them, just when you get it, go build with it.
Yep.
You know, because it will turn on you, but if you get it built and you nail it up, it is fabulous. And if you don't stain it, red gum is absolutely beautiful lumber for siding.
Yep.
You know, the
My
hard.
wife built a whole building out of it.
Yep. We've built many of them.
Yep.
You know,
I love gum.
you know,
That's probably my favorite wood.
and you know, if you can split it with a log splitter, it burns good.
Yeah.
You know, it does, but you gotta don't do anything over 12 inches in diameter. You're gonna break your log splitter. I think that's why I'm putting a new motor on mine now.
Well, that's like locusts. You know, you let that dry, you can't pound a nail through it.
You can't drill through it.
Yeah, black locust.
Yeah.
We use a locust for sill plates and beams in a lot of our buildings. So, and then our fence posts are all made out of that. And we have to get stuff that's dead. You don't want to put a green locust in the ground. You want to get your trees. If you have to, cut them ahead, put them in a pile for future use for the rails and stuff. But you got to cut it with a chainsaw or split it with an axe. Don't cut it on the mill, or it'll go whoop. So there's tricks to some of it, but it's all could be used. You know.
But you know, we cut a trailer load of black locust. I thought it would be really bad, but it didn't go bad at all. It was pretty easy to cut.
Yeah, it's not hard to cut as far as the mill. I use the 10 degree for a lot of stuff. Now I don't know, you know, Turbo 7 is probably the most used blade in most mills, I believe. But I go even the 9. I go right to the 10, and like you get white oak, beech nut. You know, that's a lot of knots and beech nut and stuff like that. And it'll just cut and cut and cut. You know, we just did that black oak, and that was a massive black oak that we took. It died. I didn't know. I hadn't figured out how much lumber I got out, but it was branch after branch after branch. And that blade cut that, and I've got absolutely beautiful, huge, thick lumber out of it. And I'm hopefully it'll stay that way as it dries. But that 10 degree, it did great. I mean, I've had other people tell me it's horrible, but I mean, I've been very happy with it.
Yeah, we like the 10-degree blades best, I think. Andy, I got a question for you. You and Paul are the arborists. All of our beech trees are dying. Every single one of them.
There's a we're losing them. We lost them a long time ago, and it becomes a serious problem because they grow from the root. There's is it an aphid ball on the beach? It's an aphid. There's an aphid that infests the bark. The aphid carries a fungus. The fungus gets under the bark, and then it kills the entire tree. We've lost most of ours. The problem is beech then resprouts from the roots. And they start sprouting up everywhere, and they start choking out other natives. So we're actually trying to get rid of our beech. And if you have a forester come in, they'll tell you, just get rid of it. And you can tell, are you getting the white mold, the white spots on the outside of the bark? Once you start seeing those, you're doomed. They're all doomed. We had beautiful, beautiful American beech here, and now none of them get more than maybe 8 to 10 inches, and then they're dead again. And they keep sending up these sprouts from the roots, and they choke everything out. So we've started cutting them down, and we're treating the stumps with triclopyr, trying to kill off everything. You can't get tordon in New York State. New York State restricts it, so we've gone to triclopyr.
We had that windstorm there a couple weeks ago, and we went up to check the trails, and oh my God, we got a bunch of beech trees that are broken half. I didn't even know they were dead.
Honky?
Wow.
Yeah. Well, if they broke in half in the windstorm, they're already past their usefulness.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have any problem with the beech nut really here. Matter of fact, I'm cutting them down. I don't, like you said, they choke out a lot like that, and hollies. I got, where you have hollies, you hardly have anything else unless it grew up before the hollies did. And it doesn't reforest. So if you go through with the hollies and you just cut them off, they'll just grow right back up. So I just go through and I got to get the skid steer fixed, but I got a massive big grapple, and it's clamshell, and I can just go out there with the tracks and pull the roots out, and then we burn them. But I just hate seeing all our that wilt. The oak wilt has been really bad here. And I think it almost seems like it's the same characteristics in the cherry and the maple. I mean, it's when you look at them dying, and in the hollowness and up in the heart, it's almost like even the poplar, they have the same characteristics of death. And I've reached out to a couple of our forestry guys here, and they're going to come out, and we're going to try to talk about it. I've bent their ear on it to see what's going on, because they've admitted that there's something going on, and it's kind of spreading. I don't know how far, if you've got it down south or not, but
it's down around us.
It's gotten out of hand. So like, what's left? If our oaks, our maples, our cherries, and our poplars have all got something, and they go from looking good to either the whole top just disappears and the tree gets broke over or falls over, and then if you go to cut it and it still looks, it has some top on it, some green, it's hollow, it's dangerous. I mean, it's just, Paul, and then you've seen my video. I mean, I've talked about it, tried to warn people, and I always do a plunge cut, leaving where the hinge would be. And if I feel it's hollow, I have options, at that point to how to drop it, And with the log awl, I can hook that tree up to that cable and hook it to another tree, and I can force it and kind of, give myself a safe way to deal with it.
Yeah. Somebody else mentioned the ash trees. That green ash borer beetle is killing a lot of the ash trees out. And we talked to a forester, said in 10 years there won't be a saw log available in ash.
We have 20 of them this year, that over the winter and last year, I was going through some things and I didn't spend as much time in the woods. I didn't even hunt much, but I usually take that time to observe all this stuff. And yeah, the ash trees. I mean, I've got them going down. I've got a list of 5 of them I got to get out and get cut down so I can make it. And I even ran across one that was bright pink in the center, and I didn't even know they had a pumpkin ash. So I've got some pumpkin ash lumber out here, and it's quite interesting. You know,
The ash borer recently made it to the West Coast. They say our ash are toast too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got swamp ash. We didn't even know that there's such a thing existed.
Yeah, oh yeah. There's a lot of styles, a lot of different ash. It's about like the oak.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have green and blue, I think, is kind of the standard in our area.
Yeah.
We have Oregon ash.
Yeah, there's a lot of different types. But the ag
We've
beetle
noticed-
doesn't care. It'll take any of them.
Wow.
We've noticed in the last couple wind events that we've had here that our maple is coming down. Are you guys getting that, Rick and Tim? You losing a lot of maple?
No, not a whole lot. Well, a couple. We've lost a couple, but not a lot.
And we're not sure why. We're losing a lot of maple.
Well,
Soft-
they're rotting. They're rotting out at the base, and then if you go look at them or you go to cut them, they're hollow, and the tree can look like it's branching and growing. But
No,
when you
these
go to cut it,
are
it's
6 to 8 inch trees,
Okay.
young trees.
young.
Soft-
And
Soft
they're
maple or
snapping
hard
off in the
maple?
middle, and when they do, there's sections of them that are punky, and we're not sure what it is.
Soft maple or hard maple?
I think it's a focus.
Is it soft or hard? We think it's soft.
We're getting some heart rot in the soft maple.
Yeah, that's. I mean, Andy, you've seen that. I did a lot of maple recently.
Yeah.
I did find a hard maple I took down in a place that I absolutely thought for sure it would be ambrosia and be soft maple like the ones around it. It turned out to be a hard maple with no ambrosia and was perfectly fine. It was hollow in the center. It was right next to a stream.
It's so hard to predict ambrosia.
Yeah, you know.
Be
But that's
back
the
on
first
second
tree.
side.
I've cut tree out of this whole bottom down here. Not one of them wasn't ambrosia. This is the first one in probably 10 years. And it's right in the middle of all of them. So I don't know how that happened, you know.
Be back in a second, y'all.
Okay. Hey Tim, you see that question there? That's directed for you.
Yeah, I don't know why he's not seeing them. I mean, can he see it up there now?
Oh, he's probably Jeff is probably viewing through our channel, so he's only seeing
Oh, the YouTube channel.
what
Right.
comes through our channel.
I got
So
you.
the other questions posted on other channels, he's not going to see.
I got
Oh,
you.
so Paul is to your right, I guess, in the main chat. I see a gray square, but I don't see him. I didn't know he was on.
Right.
He's not. I muted him. No, I did not.
I don't know any good. Anybody know any good timber frame books? I don't know any.
I don't know of anyone. I've heard of one, and I was just trying to look up if I took notes on what it was. But there's some timber frame book out there that people consider the Bible of timber framing. I just can't remember the name of it.
I
And
have
I
that
don't
book.
see it in my notes here.
I have that book because a friend of mine, an older gentleman that I work with, the whole historical thing with our place up here is all timber frame. So anything we do up here is mainly built timber frame. It's not a really big book neither. It's almost like a paperback, the one I have, but it's like the go-to one. It's a brownish cover, and I do have it somewhere. Now,
Yeah.
where that somewhere would be, and however many houses and buildings I have, I couldn't tell you.
I think that's the same one I'm thinking of. I saw it on somebody's channel. It's the way you described it. I took notes somewhere because I thought I might be interested in that someday, but I can't find it here on my phone.
But there is a online copy of it because the one I got when I was going through it, the whole binder of pages were just coming out of it. It was so whole, it was, and I just kind of put it all back together and held it together. But, and I think my wife got it for me from our local bookstore because she's the bookie here, so she's the writer and all that. But so yeah, but there's not a lot. You know, if you look it up, how to make scarf joints, how to make all these different types of joints, and it talks about the engineering of it and how to figure out the loads and all in there based on the species and stuff like that. So there's not a lot, you know.
I'd like to take this. I'd like to take this next question.
Go ahead, Rick.
You guys have a general rule on how deep to make the first cut. If you watch our videos, especially one of the most recent ones, our first cuts depends on our age. Tim made one that was too deep.
Wah, I can't carry it.
So seriously, how deep you make the first cut?
We try to salvage as much wood out of a log as we can, so we try to make our first cut just under the bark and then go from there.
Really?
Yeah, that was a mistake, John. I did one mistake, and he's not gonna let me down for
No, yeah, I saw that video. Yeah,
it. So from now on, it's like, well, is that too heavy? I'll skin the skinniest one I possibly can.
We like to use the slabs for firewood, so we try to have something, you know. If I want to have like an 8-inch surface to start with. Depending, I mean, if you're not going to go there, you're just trying to make toothpicks, you know.
Oh my God! If he cuts an offcut that's 8 inches wide on the surface, I can't carry it.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I don't have time for it. I want to get down to the meat of it. Here, get going.
That's why you got a log arch, brother. That's why I got a log arch.
Yeah.
I recently did a video about it. I measure from the center. I try to get a centered, heart-centered board, and then I just keep going up. Like if I'm doing 1x materials, I'll start from the center, go 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and then start as high as I can to get a full board out of a flitch, if that makes sense.
Right. No, it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Right. What's a full board? 6 inches, 4 inches, 8 inches?
4 inches.
4 inches. Yeah.
Preferably 6, but a lot of times it ends up being 4.
Yep. That's where I'm at.
Who wants to take this one?
I don't know what the Europeans wear.
I don't either.
Do they wear tights? Yoga pants?
Spandex?
Pants.
Personal protective equipment. I don't know.
Which foot do they put it on first?
I personally like to wear as little as I can get away with. I don't like to run with 50 pounds of extra weight.
Yeah, well, I get yelled at all the time about not wearing my leggings, you know, the protective. There's sometimes chat. Yeah, I you know, I've been cutting for a long time, and I know if I'm going to be in a bunch of brush or I'm just walking up to a tree where there's nothing around me, you know, and I'm taking my time, the tree, they're not going to protect me from the tree hitting me. You know, my focus has been to move my old butt up a hill or something. I'm having these chaps so tight around me or tripping and stopping under my legs that I can't get away from the tree. So, you know, for me, I do have pants that are designed for logging and cutting that will take that pressure, you know, of a chain. And I've actually done it. I've got a gray pair that it has a little nick in it, but it didn't hurt me at all. And they're from overseas. My wife got them for me. But yeah, I want to be light and nimble and move, you know, and I'm not so light or nimble anymore. So
now to be fair though, we started wearing hard hats because one of the cool kids on the block wears a real nifty looking one.
Oh,
and right after we started wearing them,
where's my hat?
We had a tree come down behind us and hit us on the head, and luckily we had those hats on.
Here's the only hat I wear. It's no sponsored. That's a sharp saw for wood miser. So that's the only one I ever wear. So I figured my head's hard enough. It's been hit enough, and it's still there. You know.
So Rick and Tim, does that mean your YouTube's going to go X-rated here pretty soon?
I don't know. Somebody else was talking about that. I wonder who.
I don't know. I think it was.
Someone right down over there. I don't know
I
who.
think it was John doing the calendars.
I'm still doing a sexy calendar.
Sometimes people comment on the chaps I wear. They say they're too short for me, but I do that on purpose. I wear chaps that come up just below my knees. I don't want them to go all the way to the ground because I found that the low ones are a trip hazard. I
Right.
snag them on things. The ones that just go down below my knees, they cover all the high probability areas, and I don't have the trip hazard on them.
Now, I wanted to ask you a question, Michael, and I'm glad this came up. We notice when Tim and I work in the woods, we work together all the time, and we carry radios and have a radio down at the house for my wife if something happens.
Emergency.
You work alone in the woods, and does anybody know where you're at?
Well, they know kind of the property I'm at. That's about it. Extra motivation to be really, really careful.
I thought I was bad.
It's
Nobody knows.
I just work around.
my
the
neighbors
house.
would know where to find me, but they wouldn't know to go find me.
But you might be cold and stiff by then.
I just work around the house, but I don't go in the woods. But we got 15 cameras around the house. Every foot I take.
Well, Rick would take off in the woods all by himself. And a couple of years ago, Rick, when that pine came down on your leg,
Yep.
if I wasn't there to help him, he would sat there and froze to death. So, and he gets mad when I fuss at him or his wife fuss at him. But I believe in the buddy system. That's just me.
The problem with that pine was it was on the ground. It was flat on the ground, and I was bucking it up. And I cut the first log off, and the top of the tree came up and hit me and fell on my legs, and it pinned me. I couldn't believe it.
Well, that's why we got cameras. My wife, if I'm at home by myself, I can mill, and she can watch me mill and carry wood and do whatever.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it's not a holiday or a day before a holiday, my wife doesn't worry about it. But I always hurt myself on the day before a holiday or something. So that's a running joke with me. So she says, "You're not allowed to go to work. You're not allowed to go to work." And I think that's been a running thing for about 20 years. Every time I've hurt myself, it's the day before the holiday or on the holiday. So she says, "You're just not allowed to go out or do anything. Just stay home." I'm like, okay. So,
Michael, you using steel oil?
I don't use it because it stinks.
He uses Husqvarna.
I use the Husqvarna, what is it called? The Husqvarna something. I made a video about it. So many people commented on that video that I should try Echo Red, the Echo Red armor. I bought one of those. I'm going to try that as soon as my can is empty, see how I like it.
I just got
Here,
some.
Maria.
I'm gonna try it.
Come here, buddy. Come here.
What is it?
Thunder
Husky
Snipes.
XP synthetic blend. That's what I use.
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't.
what I've
It doesn't have much of a smell to it.
I use the steel.
I run that in my steel saws.
I just got some Amsoil. I'm gonna try it.
I've heard a lot of good things about Amsoil.
We're
That's the way
we're
to
an
go.
Amsoil. We're an Amsoil dealer, so they give it to me. So
Run some
That's-
clots. That smells
Okay.
real nice.
You mix that Amsoil. No matter what your chainsaw says, no matter what your weed eater says, you mix that Amsoil 100 to 1.
yeah,
That's what you mix
that's
it
what
in your
says. It
gas.
says 100 to 1 on it.
And that ran my steel for 25 years
Yeah.
and never had a problem with it. And it runs all my Huskies now.
Well, I always
and my
grew up.
weed eater.
I always grew up mixing bar oil with transmission fluid.
Huh.
I don't think the carbide blades are worth the cost for the length of time they last. And I think you have to have a special stone to sharpen them too, don't you?
Yep.
I think so.
Carbide blades. I don't.
Probably a diamond stone.
Yeah, I would think.
No, I think carbide has to be sharpened with a soft stone, a very soft stone.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I've never used carbide, but I was discouraged because someone told me don't use carbide because they will get dull eventually and they're hard to sharpen.
I only
But I've never used them, so I don't have experience.
I bought one just to try it, That was the worst blade I've ever bought besides the
I agree with you. I agree with you. Same thing. I
They're
ran into it, wouldn't cut anymore. Then I broke it up, threw it in the trash. Just wasn't
they're like
happy
the
with it.
4-degree. They're like the 4-degree blades. They're worthless.
Yeah, it didn't do anything. Didn't cut through those nails or anything, man.
No.
Like they said they were. Oh, they'll cut through and they'll keep on cutting. No.
Now,
I didn't
Andy, your 4-degree blades will cut through a nail, right? Just like a hacksaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not more than once.
I got that same
Did you like
problem. Yeah, one time.
Andy,
Yeah.
did you like the 4-degree, Andy?
We do because we have a lower horsepower
Hey,
saw.
Courtney, I'm live. So
With a higher horsepower saw, we will probably be
I'm
running
live.
7s. We've run some 7s, and we
Somebody
just
just
don't
woke
have
up.
the horsepower. We have a 19 horse Kohler. If we had the 25 horse, I think we'd be okay. If you watch George on the Ohio channel, what is he? Middlefield. George has a wide with the 25 horse Kohler, and he can run the 7s much better than we can.
Yeah, I bought a box of 4s, but I don't get nothing out of the 4s. Mine's a 29 horse, but I don't know, just they don't last.
Yep, and
last.
I think it's horsepower. I think that's why we like them.
Yeah.
I was watching a thing today about sawdust, or yesterday, and in order to turn sawdust into compost, they say mix grass clippings with it.
right,
Something about the nitrogen.
Mm-hmm.
and leaves, and you got to, it takes a long time. I mean, that
Or chicken crap.
yeah, something that's bio is going to bring that, bio.
Anything high in nitrogen.
Yeah,
No, I know.
Why on earth would you want to get rid of your sawdust? It makes a good snowboarding hill.
it makes a good place for the fox to lay in behind me. People have seen the fox. The female fox comes up and lays in the pile. It's warm. And watches me run the sawmill.
The deer lay in mine.
Yeah,
That's what
I just put all mine directly on the garden.
It's a great
I know-
insulator too, because we brushed it back in like July and still have snow underneath it.
that's just like right now. I just now had to take a break because I had to go out back and check a trap that I got set up for a red fox.
you
He's
can hear
there.
it screaming.
And you're going to catch a skunk.
Yeah, I'm gonna end up catching a skunk.
You don't
But-
think that's funny? Well, I've done that.
Yeah, the red
Oh,
fox.
we have to.
Now, how do you get it out?
You
The
don't.
red fox is after the inspector.
If you can keep his tail down, he won't spray you.
Yeah. What if you give some catnip or something? That'll get him all happy. Maybe.
Here you go.
Here, kitty.
Oh,
Getting rid of sawdust and
Michael.
wood chips.
I disappeared.
I see that.
I am.
Everybody rotated there.
JJ Casey, the only one that's ever, I don't know about you guys. Any of you guys ever used Alaskan chainsaw mill?
No
We-
chainsaw mills.
We actually cut the main, the wide beam for the entrance into the sawmill. Paul cut that with the Alaskan chainsaw mill. What are the dimensions? 9 by 14 and 22 or 23 feet long. We actually cut that down from 33.
How many days did it take you to do that?
What did it take you? A day?
Yeah.
A day.
I think-
Material?
I think that was with the 461.
You say that was pine or
White pine, a huge white pine.
if you got the right blade, I guess. Right chain
It's
on
slow. It's not fun.
Oh, sawdust breed massive ant farms. Nope.
I've watched the Alaskan mills at some of the shows, and I get bored, walk away before they can make a board.
It's not fast.
Hard Rock, Vermont. We had Hud-son on here last month, and yes, they do have electric sawmills. Does Woodmiser, do you guys know, have electric?
Yep.
Do they have
Woodmiser has electric.
Now, is
And
there-
battery.
Woodland Mills does.
Woodland Mills, yep. So
Woodmiser.
Woodmiser has a battery.
Yeah, battery operated.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Oh, they do.
Yep.
Now, we talked about wanting to do a electric motor when the other one was getting older, but we don't have 3-phase here, and
Yeah,
so
don't either.
we didn't,
We're the same way. No 3-phase.
so
Woodmiser puts out some huge industrial electric sawmills.
they do. Yeah, maybe it's just on the.
Yeah, they got an LT40 with electric one, and they got I think an LT with a 15 with a battery operated one.
Yep.
I wouldn't even know what to think about the battery.
I can't even imagine how long a battery would last.
I can't imagine the price of the battery if it goes bad.
Ooh.
I can imagine the price of your lumber that costs so. Pay for it.
I
Well,
can't
that
imagine how heavy the carriage is to move with that big battery on it.
Yeah. Well, that rate just went up to $300 an hour.
Yeah.
Silver tip or
That's
double
cool.
hood? Oh.
The arms get real tired holding up the saw, I imagine.
Yeah, there's
I
a
may
job.
have some chainsaw milling to do this summer to rip some big logs to put on the mill.
Oh,
I just-
chainsaws. Yeah,
Yeah.
they got electric chainsaws. Yeah.
Oh, electric. Okay.
Yeah, we've actually bought a couple larger versions of the Granberg for splitting logs that won't fit on our mill.
Right. That's what we did with that black oak. I had the bigger one. I had to basically take my steel and cut it in half. The
Yep.
tractor wouldn't lift it. I mean, it had to be over 6,500 pounds. And then the second largest log, which you can see the video I did, I kind of used the forks as a backwards leverage to get the tractor would barely get it up on the I-beams, and I was kind of using the forks. I'm lucky. I know that was risky, but I finally got it along with the hoist off the roof, and the whole building was moving. And I at the last minute, before I thought everything was going to crash, it went on the mill, and luckily didn't go off the other side of the mill. So
John,
I
you
got
know
the
something
forks
about
down on the mill. Huh?
I said, John knows something about splitting logs with a chainsaw.
Yeah, that's lots of fun.
Yeah.
Michael, there's a question for you.
I don't know how to explain it just by talking about it, but
Watch your video.
You could go look at my video I made, which is a tutorial on how to make a Humboldt cut.
There you go.
Doesn't
It was
work.
within the last few months, so it's pretty high on my channel on the list.
I had Tim with your channel on showing me how to do it and still couldn't do it.
I'm going to try it this summer, though. I'm going to give it a whirl.
Well, I just disagree with that, though. I don't think you lose yield. I don't know how you can lose yield with the Humboldt cut versus a traditional.
Yeah, because you still got to be above the ground.
Right. Your Humboldt, when Michael does the Humboldt cut, he's got to start, however far off the ground so that he can come underneath and still get his underneath cut. Where I start down here and come up like this. Now, when you get the tree to the mill, it looks like you've lost that notch. But you haven't lost that notch. It's just you've taken more out of the woods than I've taken more out of the woods than Michael does on the West Coast.
I would cut that high anyway because we usually have either a butt swell or a butt sweep on the end. Usually we have steep terrain most of the time, and there's almost always a little curve right there.
That's the way ours is.
Here on the West Coast is where it's commonly used, and it's common on the West Coast that the mills don't want that stump wood anyway.
Right. Yeah.
But I think
3 to 4 feet.
I think a lot of East Coast and other places, you're right. You wouldn't gain anything with the Humboldt.
Right. I just don't think that what his thing was saying was he was losing yield. And I mean, you're not losing any yield with a Humboldt cut versus a traditional cut or vice versa, are you?
I got to agree with you, John.
Okay.
I'm on my type of stumps, I'm saving wood with the Humboldt because I'm cutting it out of that stump wood that I don't want on the mill.
Okay.
Right. You're taking it away from the bad part anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it. I see.
If you have a nice straight tree on flat ground, you're probably right. You're better off making your first cut right next to the ground and doing a traditional cut. But we don't have that out here. It's rare.
Right. I understand now. I understand what he's saying now. Yep.
I probably
And if you're selling the trees to a commercial mill, they don't want that notch in the log. They want a flush
Right.
end.
Right. And if you're a flatlander,
Mhm.
I don't want that stump sticking up in my woods.
Yeah, and I think
You know
that's
what I mean?
why one of the reasons why it's a regional thing. That's why we do it on the West Coast, and it's why they do it the way they do everywhere else.
Yeah, we typically don't get a wide swell at the bottom of the tree here.
Right.
Yeah. Like oaks and stuff, you'll have those that are buttress, at the bottom, where it swells out, and that's could be like usually white oaks, and locusts will do that some,
Okay. I just,
So,
Well, guys, I hate to shut this down, but we've been on for 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Oh, we're still at 9. We're still at 90 people in here, believe it or
Wow.
not.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I got
So-
other parts of my family coming in right now, so
before we go on,
Dinner
ask
time,
Andy.
past dinner time here.
so
Yeah, I want to ask Andy. You said that they restricted Tordon in New York.
right.
Yes.
I mean, how do you get around? Can you apply for a permit to get around that, or?
I haven't
you know.
checked to see if a licensed applicator can use it or not. But I can't even tell you what the active ingredient is. I know I've looked it up before, but I don't recall. So yeah, we're stuck with triclopyr right now, which is a common bear product for brush killer. I used it at the orchard when we cleared it. It's effective, but Tordon's, whatever the active ingredient in Tordon is, it's a lot more effective.
I was just had to throw that out there. Sorry, guys.
We just don't use any chemicals on our. We just let them rot. I don't want that. They don't want any chemicals on the property. We don't even put grass fertilizer. We don't do anything. We natural. I mean, we're
Well, that willow tree is going to sprout up again. And so's that walnut. So's that cherry.
Well, that's okay.
I don't want that sprout.
But we. I mean, I just don't. We let the woods kind of do what it would naturally do. I mean, I've cut a tree down that's dying, but it would have died and fell off and done the same thing,
Yeah.
So we just don't want it, We got a lot of natural springs here and stuff like that, and we just don't want it in our groundwater,
I hear you. Well, guys, I appreciate everybody showed up. I appreciate all the people in the audience that showed up. It's been a great show tonight. Chris, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the invite. Just reach out to me. I enjoyed it. I really did.
Glad you joined us, Chris.
Yes, it was real nice.
So
Nice
now
to meet you, Chris.
I
We're
get to
just hang
look
around there
you
for
guys up and watch videos when I get a chance. I mean, I do enjoy Paul and Andy, and I always give them a little bit of grief. They got a small baby mill, but
All right, everybody, just hang around for a minute.
Their mill's actually a little bit nicer than mine.
yeah.
We're gonna leave here, but
If it cuts, it works.
hang on, everybody.
everybody.
Thanks for joining.
Everybody just hang tight for a minute. We're going to close it down, but we'll still be here.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you coming in.
Good night,
watching
everyone.
the show.
We'll
Good
see you
night.
we'll see you the third Saturday of next month.
Third
Okay.
Saturday.
Nice to meet you, Chris.
Nice to meet you too. We'll have to get together sometime. You're not too far away, about an hour.